Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. This is a story about what if Kurama is agreed to help him train Naruto become Hokage. Before I start, please support for more amazing content, and do consider subscribing to my channel and share this video with your friends. This is written by LV of Wales and link in description and support writer. Let's start the video. Chapter 1, The Tenant. Once again Naruto found himself stuck on the streets of Konoha after dark. The carers at the orphanage had seen him running for the gates, trying to get back in before closing them. They were too fast for him this time, as they had gotten every other child in before him and closed the gates as he got there. Normally, Naruto wouldn't mind sleeping on the streets. It would mean he was safe from the violent wake-up call he usually gets from the other kids and carers, even if it meant braving the streets. Whenever he went out on the streets at night, if he was found by some drunks or angry ninja, he would get beaten, and if he was unlucky they would stab him in the shoulder or somewhere else non-lethal. After that they would leave him. Thing is, this night was different. It was the night of his birthday. It was this day that the whole village mourned the death of the fourth Hokage during the day, and then celebrate his victory against the Kyuubi at night. Although for Naruto it was what he liked to call the Hate Naruto more than normal day. The past 3 years it just kept getting worse every birthday. He would always be left on the streets at night and when found, would get beaten and stabbed or cut with broken bottles or kunai. It was a sure thing on this day. He knew they were holding back on him because he was still only a child. Tonight though he was more fearful, for it was his 6th birthday, and he had grown taller, which made him look older, and he knew the villagers wouldn't hold back as much. Sure enough, while dumpster diving for some food, a group of drunks found him and started beating him senseless. After a while they started using some broken sake bottles to stab and cut his back. As he was losing consciousness, he saw an ANBU with a dog mask jump down from the rooftops and knock out a few of the drunks. Later on he would find out this ANBU had saved his life. Naruto opened his eyes slowly, expecting to see hospital lights or the afterlife. Instead he was met with a very dim light source he could not identify and the sound of a steady drip of water in the distance. Where in the name of Kami am I now, thought Naruto as he got up and looked at his surroundings. Guess I may as well have a look around, seeing as I probably won't be leaving for some time, Naruto thought as he started walking in the direction of the dripping sound. After walking for a while Naruto noticed that the floor he was walking on was submerged in water. Why didn't I feel the water? Thought Naruto as he checked his clothes and found them completely dry. This is just getting creepy. I'm sure I was lying down when I woke up, so why aren't my clothes wet? After what felt like hours of walking, Naruto came up to a dead end with bars blocking off the last 100 feet of the corridor. About halfway up the center of the bars there was a piece of parchment with the kanji for seal on it. Stepping closer to the bars, Naruto peered inside, not sure what he was going to see. Shing! Without warning, a pair of large red eyes, with slits for pupils, snapped open, making Naruto jump back a few feet. Naruto could have sworn it sounded like someone had just drawn a sword. So kid, you finally made it here? Wish it could have been under other circumstances though, said the faceless being. Huh? Who, what are you, and where am I? Blurted out Naruto, panic evident on his face. To answer your questions in order, I am the Kyuubi and this is your mind, or rather your subconscious mind to be precise, answered the faceless being, now known as the Kyuubi. What the hell are you doing here? You're supposed to be dead, the fourth killed you. Come to think of it, why am I here? Asked Naruto a little calmer. You ask a lot of questions, kid. But I guess I might as well answer you. First off, I wasn't killed 6 years ago by the Yondaime. For one, it would be impossible for a human to truly kill a demon, and he just couldn't kill me because it went against his morals. As to, what do you mean he couldn't kill you? Naruto cut in. SS sorry Kyuubi-san. Please continue, Naruto said hurriedly. Cough, good, now where was I? Oh right. As to why I'm here, it's because Yondaime sealed me and you to save the village 6 years ago. A look of understanding suddenly came over Naruto's face. This kid's not as stupid as I thought. The Kyuubi continued. Yes kid, that's why almost everyone hates you and treats you badly. The reason why the Yondaime couldn't kill me is because if he dealt a finishing blow my chakra would disperse and I would have simply reappeared somewhere else. Also he was a friend of mine, and he had always promised to protect his friends and loved ones. Which leads to me being here, sealed in you. But why were you sealed in me and not someone else? Asked Naruto. I was sealed in you because you had just been born and your chakra system was still growing and shaping itself, which meant you were the best chance I had to survive inside a human without killing myself and my host. In the process of sealing me and you though, the Yondaime killed himself with the jutsu he used. Guess I should tell you that he didn't mean for your life to be hell. In fact, his last request was for you to be viewed as a hero, but most of Konoha wanted to blame someone for their loss and pain, and seeing as I was in you, they saw you as me and they had their target. Explained the Kyuubi. Wait, you said most of Konoha and almost everyone hates me. I mean the Hokage is nice to me whenever he sees me, but who else is there? Asked Naruto, surprising Kyuubi a little with his analysis, even though he didn't let it show. I got one answer for your question, Kit. Why do you think that NBU saved you? Answered Kyubi. Oh yeah. He was wearing that dog mask, exclaimed Naruto. That's right. Anyway, before you leave, the reason you're here is because you have just come close to death. Don't worry though, I'm healing you as we speak, you're going to be fine. There is another reason though. I have become sick of seeing how the villagers treat you, so I'm going to teach you how to defend yourself and train you to be stronger. I am also going to teach you about your parents, what they gave you, explained Kyubi. Wait just 1 second. You knew my parents as well? Shouted Naruto. Yes, I did know them. But you're going to have to wait for now, Kit. It seems our time in here is coming to an end, answered Kyubi. What a re-UUTT! All of a sudden everything slowed down and came to a stop for Naruto, even his voice. Then all he saw was darkness. Well, where am I? Asked Naruto groggily with his eyes still closed. You're in the hospital, Naruto came in all too familiar voice. It was the best thing Naruto could have heard at that moment. OJISN! Cried Naruto as he sat up quickly and his eyes snapped open looking for the Hokage. His eyes rested on his right side where the Hokage was sitting in a visitor's chair. Before he rested his eyes though, he saw that the ANBU who saved him was also in the room, standing in the corner. It's good to see that you're feeling better, Naruto, but from what the doctors told me you should not have woken up after at least another day of rest. Naruto gave him the usual foxy grin that he used around the Hokage. What do doctors know, Hokage-san? Replied Naruto, scratching the back of his head with his right hand. Oh, and thank you ANBU-san for saving me, said Naruto looking over at the ANBU in the corner. Now that he looked at him properly, the first thing he noticed was the ANBU's hair. It was silvery gray and looked like someone had used a huge static charge to make the hair stand up and stick out to the ANBU's left side. No problem, replied the ANBU calmly from behind his mask. You took quite a beating from those guys. You were lucky that I was passing by. I have to say though, I'm surprised at how fast you heal. Maybe you should become a shinobi with that talent. It should also help you defend yourself. That isn't a bad idea, Hataki-san, said the Hokage. So what do you say, Naruto? Do you want to enter the ninja academy? Asked the Hokage. Ah man, that sounds like a good idea, but what about the Kyubi? He said he would train me so that I could defend myself, thought Naruto. Actually, kid, it would be a good idea to take the old man up on this offer. I mean, it would be a little suspicious if you suddenly knew how to fight, said a voice in Naruto's head. What? Who said that? Naruto thought. Kid, you really are slow sometimes, you know that? Said the voice again. Wait a second, Kyubi, is that you? I thought I wouldn't be able to talk to you unless I was in my subconscious. Well, surprise, Kit. While I was talking to you, I managed to set up a mental link to your conscious mind. This way I can train you easier, explained the Kyubi. Alright, that's great, exclaimed Naruto, surprising the Hokage and ANBU there. I'll take that as a yes then, Naruto, said the Hokage. What? Oh yeah. That's great, Aji-san, when can I start? Answered Naruto, while scratching the back of his head again. Damn. That was awkward, thought Naruto. God damn it, Kit. You don't have to talk out loud, just think what you want to say to me, barked the Kyubi. Sorry, Kyubi-san, thought Naruto. Well, it's the weekend now, so how does this Monday sound? Asked the Hokage. That's great, Aji-san, exclaimed Naruto. But what about school stuff, you know, backpacks and stuff like that? Don't worry, we'll make sure you've got what you need, explained the ANBU. Hokage-sama, maybe we should also move him into an apartment, and out of the orphanage. At the mention of moving out of the orphanage, Naruto just jumped up and pleaded the Hokage, yeah. Please, Aji-san, can I move out of the orphanage? Seeing this, the Hokage simply sighed and said, very well. We'll need to find you an apartment fairly close to the academy then. Hataki-san, could you please go out and find him an apartment? As soon as you find one, give me the address and I'll take care of the rest. After this, the ANBU simply disappeared in a swirl of leaves with a simple, as you wish, Hokage-sama. Right then, why don't you stay here for tonight, Naruto? I'll send Hataki-san to get you when we get that apartment for you. Don't worry about money for food either, I'll send you a small allowance every week to pay for food and such. I'll also have Hataki-san get you what you need for the academy. At this, Naruto simply jumped from the bed and hugged the Hokage. Thanks, Aji-san, exclaimed Naruto. Hey, Kyubi-san? Should I tell Aji-san about you? Actually, he already knows I'm sealed in you, but I guess it would be a good idea to tell him that you know about me. Just don't tell him that I can speak to you, okay? Answered Kyubi. Alright. Naruto took a breath and asked, Aji-san? Yes, Naruto? Asked the Hokage. I know why the people of the village hate me now, said Naruto in a somber voice. The Hokage simply raised an eyebrow at this and asked, oh? And why do you think they hate you? It's because of the Kyubi sealed inside me, isn't it? Upon hearing this, the Hokage's face fell. I suppose you would have found out sooner or later anyway, Naruto, but yes, that is why they look down on you, was all the Hokage said. Thanks for being honest, Aji-san. And thanks for not looking down on me like everyone else, said Naruto. It's alright, Naruto. I know you're just the container, not the demon. If anything, I have great respect for you, Naruto. You must shoulder this burden all on your own, and you have never struck back at the village for this, said the Hokage. Naruto just looked up at the Hokage and said, I've never had to carry this alone, Aji-san. You've been there and acknowledged me, that's lifted my spirits enough for me to survive. The Hokage smiled at this. That's good to hear, Naruto. You should get some sleep now, though you've got some busy days ahead of yourself tomorrow, said the Hokage while picking up Naruto and putting him in the bed. Remember, Hatake-san will be here tomorrow to take you to your apartment. Good night, Naruto. The Hokage reminded Naruto as he walked out the door and switched the lights off. Good night, Aji-san, yawned Naruto as he fell asleep. Chapter 2, A Brand New Day. Naruto-san, shouted the dog mask ANBU known as Hatake. MMMH? Groaned Naruto, still half asleep, under the covers of the hospital linen. Naruto-san, I'm here to discharge you from the hospital and take you to your new apartment, explained Hatake. The moment Hatake finished that sentence, there was a small whirlwind and Naruto appeared fully dressed in his only clothes, a white t-shirt with a red swirl on the back, some blue shorts that came down to his knees and a pair of worn sandals, and ready to go. What are we waiting for then, Hatake-san? Let's get going. Hatake just sighed at this and said, follow me. As soon as Naruto and Hatake left the hospital, Naruto employed the foxy grin he usually reserved for the Hokage. This caused Hatake to ask, what's got you so happy? Well, apart from finally getting out of that orphanage, I know something that the villagers don't, explained Naruto. Really, what might that be? Asked Hatake. Kyubi-san? You there? Yawned Kyubi. Yeah, I'm here, Kit, what's up? Should I tell Dog Mask here that I know about you? Asked Naruto. No. You've already told the Hokage. I don't think anyone else should know for now, explained Kyubi. Afraid it's a secret, Hatake-san. Can't tell ya, was all Naruto said. Hatake looked at Naruto for a moment and thought, does he know about Kyubi? Nah. He couldn't, it's illegal to talk about the Kyubi, even to him. Must have been the Hokage-sama that told him something to make him happy. After this, Hatake thought nothing more of it. Hatake and Naruto finally came to stop in front of an apartment complex. Hatake started up the stairs at the side of the building and stopped at apartment number 9 and handed Naruto a pair of keys, one being labeled spare. Hatake spoke up before turning to leave, there's a backpack inside with school supplies already in it. There's also a set of kunai and shuriken. I suggest you don't start training with them until you get some basic knowledge from the academy. I also took the liberty of putting some food in the cupboards for you, don't get too excited, it's just some instant ramen. If you need to get anything else like new clothes or some medical supplies, just take a look around town, and you should be able to find what you need in some of the shops. Finally, here is your first allowance pack. Flicking the envelope towards Naruto, who fumbled about before catching it. You'll get another one at the beginning of every week. Try to save some of it every week. Now I have to report to the Hokage-sama. Bye. At that, Hatake just disappeared in a swirl of leaves. Naruto just stood there for about 5 minutes taking in all the information he received. Finally, he just broke out in a huge smile, turned to the door of his apartment, stuck the key in the lock and turned it. He opened the door and stepped over the threshold into the apartment. At first he just dashed around finding out where everything was. The bathroom was next to the bedroom was next to the living room/kitchen. By some standards it was a minimalist dream, but for Naruto it was a safe haven. He wouldn't have to worry about staying out too late anymore, he could come and go as he pleases. It was at this moment that the Kyubi decided to speak up. Hey Kit. I know you're still over the moon about all this, but do you think I could talk to you? Sure, Kyubi-san, what's up? First off, no more of that Kyubi-san stuff. If I'm going to be teaching you and training you, I would prefer it if you called me Kyubi-sensei. How about Q-sensei? Okay, you can call me that, secretly smitten with her new nickname. Now then, I want you to sit down and close your eyes, that way we can talk face to face. Okay, Naruto said while sitting down on his new couch and crossing his legs and finally closing his eyes. Naruto suddenly found himself back in front of the bars to Kyubi's cage. The first thing to come out of Naruto's mouth was, do we always have to be in this place if you're gonna be teaching me? Hey, that's up to you, it's your mind, Kit, replied the Kyubi. Okay, let's see what I can do, said Naruto as he started to concentrate. Suddenly the dank walls and submerged floor were replaced with a small room exactly the same as Naruto's new living room, the main difference being that the wall that usually led to the kitchen was replaced with the cage that held the Kyubi. There we go, that's better, said Naruto as he once again sat down on the couch. Q-sensei? Do you have to always stay in that cage? Asked Naruto. Actually, that was something I was going to go over with you. I will be taking a human form for the purpose of teaching you, so I just wanted to ask you, which gender would you prefer me to take? Asked the QB. Gender? Asked Naruto, confused. The QB sighed. Do you want me to take the form of a man or a woman? Asked the QB, exasperated. Oh. Well, I guess it would be better if you took the form of a man, I guess. Answered Naruto. Very well, said the QB. After a few seconds, a red mist-like substance leaked from the cage and formed into a man about the same height as Hotaki. The differences were though that QB had orange-red hair which was styled similarly to Naruto's hair except longer. The QB was barefoot with a red pair of pants that came down to his ankles and a shirt with a flame motif on it. He also had some bracelets on each wrist and a collar around his neck. His eyes, though, were exactly the same, red with slit pupils. In his current attire, he looked like a karate master, as he also had a black belt around his waist keeping the shirt closed. Alright, now that's sorted, I'm going to give you the full story of what happened and why 6 years ago, when I attacked Konoha. The QB then went on to explain that he was in fact supposed to be Konoha's protector. He explained how the Yondaime, with the help of Naruto's mother, made a deal with the QB to protect the hidden village if the need ever arose. On the night of the supposed attack, it turned out that a certain clan member had found out about the deal the Yondaime was making with the demon, and didn't like the idea of having a demon anywhere near the village. The clan member then went on to use his Kekkai Genkai to send the QB into a bloodlust rage and attack the village. And during the attack, your mother gave birth to you, and the Yondaime had the idea of sealing me in you, which effectively stopped the attack and saved the village. What happened to my mother? Asked Naruto with a sullen look on his face, probably already knowing the answer. I'm afraid she died giving birth to you, Kit. But since that night I made a promise to protect you and make sure you grew up right. To be honest, I'm surprised you've made it this far without going mad from how you were treated, answered QB. What happened next shocked QB slightly, because Naruto had gotten up and given QB a small hug and said, "Thank you, Q-sensei, for finally coming forward and saving me from going bad." No problem, Kit. Now then, take a seat and I'll begin the lessons. Naruto, do you know what true strength is? Taking a seat again, Naruto merely looked at QB, then started thinking. Eventually he looked back at QB and said, "Admitting to your mistakes?" QB chuckled a bit and said, "That is one aspect of it, Kit. But I believe that true strength is the will to get back up after being knocked down. Being able to knock your opponent down is one thing, but if your opponent keeps getting back up, then there's no point. Eventually you'll tire, which will allow your opponent to finish you off. There are some things that can help you with this will to get back up. One is someone you care for, 2 is having a goal you wish to achieve with all your heart, and 3rd and final is a nindo that you follow in your life. Seeing as you have very few you currently care for, do you have a goal?" Again Naruto thought a while about this and finally says, "To be Hokage," he said with a determination in his voice that did not go unnoticed by QB. "I see, that's a pretty good goal to set for yourself. But why do you want to be Hokage?" asked QB. "I want to be acknowledged by the people of the village. No matter how bad they've treated me, I'm still technically a hero because I had you sealed in me to save them all. So I want to be recognized for what I really am," answered Naruto. Again, good answer, Naruto. But you should know you're going to have to work hard for your dream. To be Hokage is to be the strongest shinobi in the village. You will have to endure many challenges to make yourself stronger physically and mentally, and you'll have to beat a lot of opponents to show that physical and mental strength. So do you still wish to be Hokage? QB asked, raising an eyebrow. Yes. For I also have a nindo that I will also follow to make myself stronger, answered Naruto. Interesting, and this nindo will be what exactly? QB asked, raising his eyebrow again. This should be good, he thought to himself. My nindo is that I never go back on my word. So I will one day become Hokage, Naruto answered again with confidence. Damn, this kid is just like his father. Something tells me this kid is gonna be great, with a little help from yours truly, of course, thought QB. That is a good nindo, Naruto. Now the rest of what I wanted to do involves your training, so open your eyes and get back to the real world. I'll instruct you from here. Okay, Q-sensei. See ya, Naruto yelled before snapping back to reality. Hey sensei? What gives? It felt like I was talking to you for a good few hours, but it looks like only an hour has passed out here, inquired Naruto. That's just a trick of the mind, Kit. Time is an illusion that only occurs in the real world. When in your mind, you could spend what feels like a day in your mind, and only a few seconds might happen in the real world, QB explained. Oh. Okay, cool. Alright, Q-sensei, what do I do? Asked Naruto in his head. First off, let's see how much you got with your allowance from the Hokage, said QB. As soon as QB said this, Naruto grabbed the envelope which he had left in the kitchen. He ripped it open, not expecting much. A little while after opening it, Naruto finally asked the QB how much was there. What, you can't count that? There's enough there to get a good amount of food for a month. Obviously, the Hokage expected you to buy some training equipment, or something. Kyubi exclaimed. Hey, it's not my fault. I hate math. So what is it that you were thinking of getting with the money? Naruto asked. Well, you're gonna need to train your physical strength and stamina. I'll leave you to learn a few basics about chakra at the academy before I do anything about that with you. Now, there's a good way to train your physical strength and stamina, and that is by wearing weights, so let's go have a look at what they've got at the ninja stores. I guess it would also be a good idea to get some more food as well. Ramen's cheap but not all that healthy, you're also gonna need protein to build your muscles. Now then, let's get going! Exclaimed Kyubi. Alright, let's see what I can find. Naruto also exclaimed. As Naruto walked down the street, he noticed that it was a little afternoon from where the sun was, also thanks to a little help from Kyubi as well. First things first, he wanted to find some weights for his legs and arms. Eventually, he came across a ninja equipment shop which had all sorts of weapons and other equipment, but the one thing wanted caught his eye as he was about to leave the shop. There in a glass casing was a set of weights with removable plates which allowed a person to increase or decrease the weight as the person saw fit. So Naruto asked Kyubi if they would do. Yeah, those will do. It's got a good starting weight which will be fine for your age, and the difference in weights will be good for when you're ready to up the weight. Plus the blocks are large enough for me to alter them once you're used to the max weight, so I can make them heavier. Explained Kyubi. Great. Now where's the shopkeeper? I gotta ask him for a set. Aha, there he is. Naruto thought, noticing the shopkeeper at the other end of the store polishing a weapon. Oh heyo. Shopkeeper-san. Can I have a set of those wrist and ankle weights, Chodai? Hi. Give me a moment to get a set from the back, kiddo, said the shopkeeper in a tired voice. As he turned to look at his young customer before getting the weights, Naruto noticed there was something about the old man's look that wasn't uncomfortable, but it wasn't what he normally got from someone's look either. After the old man got back from behind the counter, he handed the box to Naruto and asked, Now why would someone so young want weights? I'm starting at the Ninja Academy this Monday, and I wanted to train myself, answered Naruto. You're very committed for one so young. Not many young ninja bother with this form of training because it's quite exhausting, but the end result of the training is always worth it, said the old man. Good. 'Cause I want to be the strongest ninja. I'm gonna be Hokage. Naruto emphasized the last part, causing the old man's eyes to widen seeing the boy's strong resolve. That is good to hear, kiddo. I wish you luck on your way to be Hokage. Just remember where it all started and tell everyone about my shop. I like you, kiddo. I'll give you a 1/4 off the weight set. That brings the price down to 1500 Ryo. A bargain, said the old man. You're telling me. That is a good deal. To pay for the set, give the old man 3 of those greenish notes. They're each worth 500 Ryo, announced Kyubi. Thanks, Q-sensei, Naruto said as he took out 3 of the greenish notes, like the Kyubi told him. Here you go, Aji-san. As Naruto began walking out, the old man shouted in a happy voice, Don't forget to tell your classmates about this place, and don't forget about it yourself either, kiddo. Don't worry, Aji-san, I'll be back if I need anything, Naruto shouted as he walked onwards toward the markets to get some food. Hey, Oji-san, yelled a feminine voice from behind the counter. Yes, Tenten-chan, I can hear you. I'm old, not deaf, replied the old man. Who was that? A customer or just a friend? Asked Tenten. That was a customer. You'll probably see him in the academy on Monday. He said he was starting there, replied the old man. Oh. Okay. I'm gonna go home now then, Aji-san. I moved everything like you asked? Bye, said Tenten. Bye, Tenten-chan, yelled the old man as the kunoichi ran out the door for home. It had been about half an hour since Naruto had gotten back from shopping for a few essentials, one of which was a small frog-shaped purse. He couldn't keep using the envelopes to carry his money. He had just finished putting everything away when Kyubi spoke up. Hey Kit. You better get those weights on now so you can get used to them. Already on it, he replied, pulling them out of the case and figuring out how they were supposed to be worn. Turns out they worked the same as sweatbands. He just had to slip them on his wrists and ankles and tighten the straps at either end to keep them from slipping off. The color, though, in his opinion could be better. They were a tan skin color, which he thought was a bit boring. Hey Q-sensei, should I add more weight to these things? It's just, they feel kinda light. I guess me being sealed inside you affected you more than I thought. You currently have 1/4 of the weights from the set on your body, and that's supposed to be heavy for a genin, chuckled Kyubi. I guess you better put a couple more plates in each limb. Kyubi paused while Naruto inserted the plates. Better? Yeah, they feel fairly heavy now, replied Naruto. Good. Now, get some rest, Kit. I'm gonna work you to the bone tomorrow. That said, Naruto got in his bed. Marveling at how soft it was compared to the one at the orphanage, he quickly fell into a deep slumber. The next day, Naruto was awoken by the shout of Kyubi in his mind. He didn't complain. It was better than the usual wake-up call. The day went by quickly with all the workouts that Kyubi had him do, and he asked about the weapons training, to which Kyubi answered, "You can learn about that at the academy and train yourself from there. It's pretty easy. Once you learn how to throw the kunai and shuriken properly, it's just a matter working on your aim." Naruto just agreed silently and went back to his workout. Through the first week, Naruto had learned quite a lot from being at the academy, even if most of the teachers had ignored him when he tried to ask them questions. One of the things he was most proud of was the amount of chakra he found out he had. He found out when the teachers had taught them to gather chakra for the purpose of doing jutsus, but as soon as the teacher told them to release the chakra, Naruto released the chakra through some of his tenketsu points, unwittingly causing a wave of chakra which not only knocked over the students closest to him, but apparently could be felt up to a half-mile radius from the school. Or so he heard from the ANBU, who arrived shortly afterward to check what had happened. After the ANBU left, a teacher came over to Naruto and told him to be careful next time he tried that. That teacher was Iruka-sensei, the only teacher at the school Naruto felt like he could trust because he didn't look at him the same way all the others did. On his first day, a girl with her hair up in two buns had come up and said hi to him. She explained that she was the granddaughter of the old man at the ninja store where he got the weights, and her name was Tenten, but he could call her Tenten-chan cause she thought he was cute. Before she left for her class, since she was a little older, she gave him a pat on the head and wished him luck on his first day. After she left, he blushed a little, embarrassed with the attention she had given him and how she said he was cute. There was one kid at the school he took an instant dislike to, though. That kid was Sasuke Uchiha. It wasn't the fact that it was a member of Sasuke's clan that caused Kyubi to attack that made him dislike Sasuke. He knew Sasuke wasn't responsible for that. What Naruto disliked about Sasuke was the fact that he was always so moody, and he always thought he was better than everyone else. Sometimes he wished he got a chance to knock him off his high horse. Little did he know he would get that chance in a few years. Then halfway through the week, Naruto managed to make a friend with another kid named Kiba, who always had a puppy with him, called Akamaru. Eventually, he also introduced himself to another couple of kids, a kid that always had a bag of potato chips called Shuji, and a kid that looked like he had a pineapple for a head called Shikamaru. They would talk during break time and lunch, but every time he tried to talk to any of the other kids at the end of the day, their parents would just drag them away with the same lame excuse, "Your mother will kill me if I don't get you home now, so come on." And Naruto would be left on his own. Naruto asked the Kyubi if he should try anything to change this, and all the Kyubi said was, "Just wait, kid. Once you become a ninja and save one of your friends, it'll just mean their parents will be more ashamed of themselves for shunning you." Thinking about this, Naruto quickly formed another nindo for himself and told Kyubi, "Hey Q-sensei, I got another nindo." "Which is?" asked Kyubi with interest. "I will always protect my friends," thought Naruto fiercely. Kyubi gave out a chuckle and said, "You know, kid, you're so much like your father, it's unbelievable, almost." Naruto grinned at this and continued with his workout. The next few years carried on like this. Naruto would be woken up in the morning thanks to Kyubi. He would work out, then go to the academy. At the academy, he learned the bare minimum he needed to pass because of his teachers not bothering to teach him properly. At the end of the day, he would go to one of the open training grounds near the academy and practice his aim with his kunai and shuriken. His aim steadily got better, and he had to buy many new sets of kunai and shuriken from the same shop he got his weights at because they eventually got too dull. Sometimes he would see Tenten there, and they would talk about weapons in school. After practicing with his weapons, he would practice his taijutsu until his knuckles were bleeding and his legs were sore from kicking the target so much. He did this because Kyubi said it would make his knuckles and skin strong. Eventually, he also got some bandages to wrap his knuckles in because he was so tired of having to scrub the blood stains from his clothes and weights. Sometimes, though, he could swear it felt like someone was watching him when he was doing all this training, but every time he looked around, he couldn't see anyone. Sometimes on his way home, he would treat himself to some ramen at a place called Ichiraku's, much to the dismay of Kyubi. Once at home, if he had not already had a meal, he would have instant ramen, and something the Kyubi suggested. Afterwards, he would practice the katas shown to him by Kyubi in his mind. His apartment had also changed quite a lot. He had gotten a couple of scrolls to hang on his walls. One read in kanji "Never Give Up," while the other read in kanji "Will of Fire." He also had some manga littering the floor and different clothing he had bought. After the first year in the academy, Kyubi had him running up trees with chakra, but he mastered this pretty quickly and moved on to water walking. He carried on with these practices until he could walk up a tree without much trouble and started to walk on water without a second thought. He had also increased his weights to the maximum amount halfway through his third year, about a month before his 9th birthday. According to Kyubi, the maximum weight equaled around 500 kg thanks to the seals he had placed on them. His birthday wasn't such a bad thing anymore either. He could easily get to his apartment to get away from the villagers. Not that the villagers tried to attack him anymore since they found out he was in the academy. They still liked to give him an evil stare though. On his 9th birthday though, Kyubi did something he didn't normally do. Chapter 3 Revelations. Naruto's 9th birthday. Naruto had just finished at the academy for the day, and was on his way to the training grounds when Kyubi spoke up. "Hey Kit! Forget about the training for today, I got a present for you." "A present? What it is, Q-sensei?" asked Naruto, thoroughly interested. Kyubi chuckled a bit. "I'm afraid we have a bit of a walk before I can give it to you, Kit." "Aw man! Can I at least jump on rooftops to get there? At least then I can get a bit of training in, and it should be a little faster," whined Naruto. Kyubi just chuckled again and said, "Okay Kit, but watch where you land. You're weighing in at over 500 kg with those weights now, remember? I don't want you falling through a roof and almost dying on me." Naruto put on a mock pout. "Oh come on Q-sensei. I'm tougher than that and you know it. Now then, which way?" After about an hour jumping from roof to roof, being very careful to go for the sturdier rooftops, Naruto entered the forest and started jumping from branch to branch, again being careful and going for the strongest ones. Even though most had a gap of easily 100 feet, until he finally came to a small cliff face with a waterfall coming from the top and falling into a small pool which lead to a small river. "This a Q-sensei?" asked Naruto, a little tired. "Yep, this is it, Kit. Now this is just the first part. See that small, circular stone coming out of the cliff face?" instructed Kyubi. "I want you to get over there and channel some of my chakra into that stone through your hand." "Wait a sec, Q-sensei. How am I supposed to channel your chakra?" asked Naruto, slightly confused, while walking over to said stone. "I'm going to leak some of my chakra into your chakra system. Don't worry Kit, you'll know when it's in your system. It might be a little difficult to control it at first, but you'll get it done," answered Kyubi. Naruto waited a while until he had a warm feeling coming from his stomach. He instantly started pulling Kyubi's chakra into his hand. He even used some of his own chakra to help push it. Eventually he got all the chakra to his hand and pushed it into the stone. As soon as the chakra entered the stone, a seal appeared underneath Naruto's hand and the stone dragged itself into the cliff face. After the stone was completely inside the cliff face, a loud rumbling came from Naruto's right. He looked over and what he saw made him think two words: sneaky bastard. "Language, Kit!" scorned Kyubi. "English and Japanese, what about you?" Naruto said jokingly, while he just grinned at his own joke. The wall behind the waterfall had started to move forward, revealing a large entranceway. As Naruto walked over to the entrance, the first thing he felt was warm air flowing out of the entrance. As soon as he entered, the door started to close behind him. Seeing this, Naruto panicked for a second but came to his senses when he realized that it was Kyubi that brought him here, so it was probably safe. When the door finally closed, Naruto was slightly surprised to find there was a light glow coming off the walls, giving off enough light to see by. Curious about it, he was going to ask Kyubi, but his sensei, seeming to read his mind, explained before he could ask, "Me and the Yondaime built this place before he became Hokage. The two of us had actually been friends for quite some time, and we needed some place where we could train together and basically have fun. Eventually the Yondaime found this place and we set to work. I worked on the actual formation of this place. I carved out the tunnels with my chakra and placed some chakra in the walls, creating the glow you see and heating the place, which is why it's warm in here. Your father worked on the entrance, creating that seal you saw and security to make sure no one else could get in here. Currently the seal will only accept certain people's chakra, mine, the Yondaime's, and your mother's. That's why I had you channel my chakra." As Naruto walked through the cave, he noticed that there were many rooms. Some had doors keeping him from seeing inside them. Others didn't have any doors, just a doorway allowing a full view of the things inside. Eventually Naruto came across a room with some sofas in it, and a fairly large table to one side. He decided to go in and take a seat since he was still tired from the running and the difficulty of channeling Kyubi's chakra. "So Q-sensei, what was up with the locked doors? What's behind them?" asked Naruto, his curiosity getting the better of him. "Before I answer your question, kid, I want to explain to you why I brought you here. You and I both know at the current rate you're going at the academy, you're not going to pass the final exam and become a genin, mainly thanks to those so-called teachers, so I brought you here so you can better learn the history and laws of Konoha. You're going to need to know these things if you want to be a good Hokage. I also brought you here to teach you some more advanced defensive jutsu. If you were found practicing them, you'd probably be taken away by the ANBU thinking you to be a spy." "Wait, why are you only going to be teaching me defensive jutsu?" asked Naruto. "I'm only teaching you defensive jutsu for now because I want you to be able to use these jutsu in the blink of an eye. Another reason for bringing you here is so you can receive the scrolls your mother and father left for you. They both wrote a short note for you before you were born and had me sealed in you. We're going to have to get back to the first door you came across if you want to read them." Naruto had gone back to the first door he came across on his way through the caves. It turned out the door was unlocked, and it led to a small room with a desk in the corner. There were 2 scrolls on the desk. One was sealed with the kanji for mother while the other was sealed with the kanji for father. Naruto looked at each scroll and finally decided to read the one with the mother seal. He opened the scroll and started reading. "Dear Naruto, while I'm writing this, Kyubi is attacking the village. I'm writing this just in case the worst should happen and I die in the attack or while giving birth to you. You should know I love you very much, Naruto. I hope you've grown to be a strong person and a proficient shinobi. You should know that if I am dead, you are now the sole heir to the Uzumaki clan from Yuzu-no-Kuni, the Whirlpool country. I have left all the clan's hidden jutsu and information on the Kekkai Genkai you might inherit from me in the compound you found this scroll in. I have asked your father to place time seals on some of the more advanced jutsu in case you try to advance too quickly. I have also left all the clan's assets for you in a bank account in Konoha. Sorry for not being there to see you grow up, my little Naruto. I hope you find happiness in your life. Good luck, Naruto. Your mother, Kushina Uzumaki. A few silent tears fell from Naruto's eyes when he finished reading the letter. He knew at that moment this scroll would become one of his most precious possessions, not that he had many to begin with. Once he'd rolled the scroll back up and wiped his tears away, he placed his mother's scroll in his pocket, being sure to keep it in a safe place when he got home. He then reached for the other scroll, unraveled it, and started reading once again. Hey kiddo. I'm writing this because in a few hours I'm going to die while sealing away Kyuubi and you. Do not blame Kyuubi for my death, Naruto. He is a good person. If you don't already know, I'm afraid your mother died while giving birth to you. She loved you very much, Naruto, and I hope you realize that. I've left all my knowledge of jutsu and seals in the compound you're now in. I have placed a time seal on some of them, but with all the chakra you'll gain from having Kyuubi in you, I doubt you'll have much trouble performing the jutsu where chakra is concerned. You should also know that you are now sole heir to the Namikaze clan. I've left all the knowledge of the clan and its Kekkai Genkai with the jutsus I mentioned earlier, although there are no time seals on those scrolls. I've also left you the deed to the clan compound and details of the clan bank account. Hope this helps, kiddo. I'm just sorry I couldn't be there to help you grow. With the seal I used on you, though, Kyuubi should be able to help you with training and stuff. Have a good life, kiddo. Protect those you care for, find a woman you love, live your life, and most importantly, never give up. See you around, Naruto. Your father, Minato Namikaze, the 4th Hokage of Konoha. As soon as Naruto had read the final line of the message, he froze. It took a moment for what he read to sink in. As soon as it did, he had more silent tears coming from his eyes. He handled the scroll from his father just as gently, and with as much love as he had with his mother's scroll, keeping it in the same pocket as his mother's scroll, being sure to remember to keep them somewhere safe later on. After returning to the living area he had found earlier, he lay down on the largest sofa and started talking to Kyuubi. Why didn't you tell me, Kyu-sensei? Why didn't you bring me here sooner? Asked Naruto, sadness evident in his voice. Because I didn't want you getting a swelled head and acting like that Uchiha. I wanted to make sure you were willing to work hard for your skills as a shinobi. I didn't want you thinking that everything came on a silver platter because of who your parents were. I also needed to know you were mature enough to handle all this. Explained Kyuubi. Does anyone else know about my father? Or what he and my mother left me? Asked Naruto, a little happier seeing how much faith Kyuubi had in him. The current Hokage, your father's sensei and one of your father's students, knows you're the Yandame's son, but no one knows about what they left for you in this place. Replied Kyuubi, noticing Naruto's lifting spirits. So you got any idea where they left the jutsu scrolls? Asked Naruto with his foxy grin. Don't you want more time to absorb this information, kid? I mean, you just found out your father was the Yandame, and you finally know who your mother is? Asked Kyuubi, a little surprised at Naruto's actions. You read the scroll Dad left me. He wanted me to live my life, not mourn their deaths for the rest of it. He wanted me to keep going. He didn't want me to give up. My mom wanted me to be happy. And you know I'm happiest when I'm trying to get stronger so I can be Hokage and protect those I care for. One way of getting stronger is learning new jutsu, so let's find the scrolls they left me. Answered Naruto. Kyuubi chuckled at this and told him, Kid, your father would be proud of you right now. I guess you're right. We should get started on your new training. Having said this, Kyuubi then guided Naruto to a door with the kanji 4 vault on the front. Kyu-sensei, are you sure about this? It's just this door doesn't seem all that secure. Asked Naruto sarcastically. Kid, this just leads to the vault door. Answered Kyuubi, scoffing at Naruto. Naruto just shook his head at this and opened the door only to see a long tunnel with a downward slope going deep underground. This is gonna be a long trip, isn't it? Whined Naruto. Kid, just shut up and start running. A bit more training for you. Chuckled Kyuubi. Naruto sighed and started running. On his way down there were several twists and turns, and from what he could figure he was already down around 200 feet. When he got around the 500-foot mark, he finally arrived in a large cavern with a boulder on the far wall and a parchment with a seal on it. He walked over to the boulder when Kyuubi spoke up. The door to the vault works exactly the same as the entrance to the compound. I'm going to leak some more of my chakra into your system so you can open it. Once we're inside, you can add your chakra signature to mine and your mother's and father's. That way you can open it with your own chakra whenever you want. Nice, thought Naruto as he forced Kyuubi's chakra into the parchment. A larger seal appeared behind it, and the boulder started moving to one side. Naruto jumped back, not expecting the boulder to move that quickly. Once the boulder had completely moved away from its original spot, Naruto noticed a small round opening about 2 feet up from the floor. That's just weird. One big door for a small doorway, thought Naruto as he walked to the opening. As soon as he reached the doorway and looked inside, all he could do was stare, open-mouthed in amazement at the number of scrolls in the large cavern. Okay, stop drooling, kid, and let's have a look what jutsu they left for you, ordered Kyuubi, snapping Naruto out of his dazed state. Naruto walked in and looked around the cavern. The walls were covered in pigeonholes with a scroll in each one, and underneath the hole was a small label naming the jutsu in the scroll. There were also a few larger scrolls stacked next to a large table with a chair placed next to it on the far wall. He guessed those contained the Kekkei Genkai he might have and the signature jutsus of his clans. Next to the table there was also a large pigeonhole holding another large scroll with the simple label contract underneath it. Obviously this led to Naruto's next question. Q-sensei, what's that? That, kid, is a summoning contract for my clan. You can sign it if you want, but I suggest you wait until you're at least a genin, answered Kyuubi. Guess I should wait then, thought Naruto. After this short conversation, Naruto started looking through the jutsus on the walls. Don't you want to check out your family jutsus, kid? I mean, you should have an easy time performing them, seeing as they were made for your family's bloodlines, inquired Kyuubi. Now where's the fun in that? Asked Naruto. Besides, if I started using jutsu from Dad's clan, people would start getting suspicious. Plus you wanted me to concentrate on defensive jutsus, so we might find something useful to start learning in these scrolls, explained Naruto. Kyuubi just marveled at Naruto's thinking and thought, he's getting smart. It was that moment that Naruto had passed over a section of scrolls about Bunshin, clones if you didn't know. Kyuubi noticed this and called him to stop. What is it, Q-sensei? Asked Naruto. Go back a couple of columns there. 7th scroll up, the Ketsueki Bunshin no Jutsu, blood clone technique. Kid, I think I just found a better way of training you. Let's get your chakra signature placed on the lock to the vault, and get back up to the first level and head for one of the training rooms, said the Kyuubi in an excited voice he tried to hide. Naruto quickly forced some of his chakra into a panel next to the doorway on his way out as Kyuubi had told him. He then proceeded to lock the vault, ran back up to the first level, and found the training grounds Kyuubi had described to him. It was another large cavern, except it looked like it had been made naturally. The cavern was practically circular in shape. There were stalagmites and stalactites decorating one area, a waterfall coming out a hole high up in the wall and falling into a small pool, a small sand pit next to the pool, another hole high up in the wall directly above the doorway with a strong wind blowing out of it. On another part of the wall was a large area of rust, and finally, in the middle of the cavern was a clearing about 300 feet in diameter. The cavern had obviously been altered slightly for such a large open area to be there, and the wind tunnel above the doorway. Naruto just looked in amazement at such a gathering of elements. You had all the materials in this one training area to perform almost any jutsu. Naruto finally got over his amazement, walked to center of the clearing and started reading the scroll he had taken. After reading, he had found out the Ketsueki Bunshin no Jutsu used some of his own blood to make a real body for his clone, except it was fueled by chakra, not food. Because of this, the clone could stay in existence until the user dispelled the technique, or ran out of chakra, where the clone would turn back into blood. But because of the nature of the jutsu, only one blood clone can be created at a time. Naruto thought about what he had read and figured it would require a lot of chakra to make a blood clone. From the sounds of things, this jutsu is gonna need a lot of chakra. You think I have enough to use it, Q-sensei? Asked Naruto, still not understanding how this could help his training. Don't worry, kid. Just use the chakra I'm leaking into your system, answered Kyuubi, already leaking his chakra. Naruto set down the scroll and looked at it once more, making sure he remembered all the seals. He stood up, took out a kunai and cut across both his palms. He then started going through all the seals, trying to finish before his wounds were healed by Kyuubi. When he finished the seals, ending on the rat seal, blood was being drawn from the cuts on his palms. After a few moments he started feeling a little dizzy from blood loss and was relieved to see that his blood was no longer being drawn out. His blood was now a small blob on the floor. After a second of wobbling, it started to take shape, shooting up and sprouting arms. When the blood finally stopped shifting and changed its color to be a perfect clone, all Naruto could do at what he saw was shout, "What the hell?" Chapter 4: Serious Training. Last time. Naruto set down the scroll and looked at it once more, making sure he remembered all the seals. He stood up, took out a kunai and cut across both his palms. He then started going through all the seals, trying to finish before his wounds were healed by Kyuubi. When he finished the seals, ending on the rat seal, blood was being drawn from the cuts on his palms. After a few moments he started feeling a little dizzy from blood loss and was relieved to see that his blood was no longer being drawn out. His blood was now a small blob on the floor. After a second of wobbling, it started to take shape, shooting up and sprouting arms. When the blood finally stopped shifting and changed its color to be a perfect clone, all Naruto could do at what he saw was shout, "What the hell?" This chapter. Naruto stared at the blood clone in front of him. The clone looked nothing like him. Its hair wasn't blonde, but it was spiky. Its clothes were nothing like his, and it was well above Naruto's height. In fact, the clone in front of him right now looked like Kyuubi in Naruto's subconscious. Orange red hair, longer than Naruto's but in a similar style. Red eyes with slit pupils. A shirt with a flame motif coming from the hem, the shirt being kept closed with a black belt around his waist, and finally, red pants coming down to his ankles with nothing on his feet. The blood clone even had the bracelets on each wrist and a collar around the neck. To be modest, Naruto was freaked out. So? What Kyuubi started in Naruto's mind. Do you think of this kid? Kyuubi finished in his new body. Naruto was so surprised he simply started spouting nonsense, and then promptly fainted. When he came to, he found himself in a large king-size bed. He looked around the room and saw Kyuubi leaning against the wall, looking like he was asleep. Getting over the shock of seeing him, he decided to wake him. Kyuubi-sensei? Kyuubi opened his eyes and looked over at Naruto in the bed. You're finally awake then, kid? I knew you'd be surprised but fainting. Come on, kid? I just don't get it, Kyuubi-sensei. How could you be out here? I thought you said if you tried to break the seal and get out, that both of us would die. Asked Naruto. Kyuubi started to explain. That's true, but I haven't broken the seal. I am still very much bound to you, kid, as you can see from my shackles. Referring to the collar and bracelets. Right now I'm just transferring my consciousness into this clone made with your blood. Don't worry, it's my chakra that's fueling the clone, not yours, so I should be able to sustain this clone indefinitely, although using some of your chakra to sustain this clone would be a good way to increase your chakra reserves. Said Kyuubi, musing out loud. So this was what you meant by finding a better way of training me. Now you can actually help my train in the real world. Exclaimed Naruto. Yup. That's right, kid. This way I can teach you jutsus and other things much easier. Explained Kyuubi. Alright. Finally I can learn things properly. Hey, wait a second, how long was I out? Asked Naruto, a little worried. A little over an hour now, kid. Don't worry, kid, I would have woken you if you stayed unconscious too long. Either way, you better get back to your apartment, you have to be ready for the academy tomorrow. Don't worry, I'll stay here and I still have my mental link with you, so if you need me just call. I'll probably be in suspended animation when you're not here so I can save chakra. You also need to insert your chakra signature on the way out so you can open the entrance. It works the same as the vault. The panel should be to the right of the entrance. Oh, and kid? Even though I'm going to help you get better, I want you to keep your grades just low enough not to raise suspicion but high enough to pass, okay? Asked Kyuubi. What? But why, Kyuubi-sensei? Asked Naruto. Because, kid, other shinobi will always look at your progress while in the academy during your first few years as a ninja. When they see that you only just passed when becoming a genin, this will most probably make them underestimate you and give you a trump card. Explained Kyuubi. Naruto just nodded at this and started towards the door of the bedroom. The last time he saw of Kyuubi, he was sitting down on the bed Indian style. He closed the door. Instantly he knew where he was in the compound and headed to the exit. As Kyuubi had told him the panel was to the right of the entrance, he forced some of his chakra into it, and the door opened much the same way it did when he first came in. When Naruto stepped outside, it was already dark. Looking at his watch, he cursed. It was already past 11 p.m. He was going to have to be fast if he wanted to get enough sleep tonight. He sighed. This is gonna be exhausting, but hey, at least I'll definitely sleep tonight. He thought with a bit of glee. He started running at about triple the speed he had been running on the way to the compound. I'm gonna have to find a way to get back and forth between my apartment and the compound faster. Otherwise I'm either gonna die from exhaustion, or I'm not gonna have enough time at the compound to learn much of anything. He thought as he was jumping from tree to tree. Eventually he got back to the apartment by midnight. Once he got home though, he went into his bedroom, and as soon as his head hit the pillow he was asleep. For the next few days Naruto would go to the open training area near the academy as usual, but he would then go to Ichiraku's to get something to eat before going to the compound. Because of the trip, Naruto would order more than usual though, much to the joy of Tuchi and Ayonayam. When the weekend finally came, he went to the open training grounds for a bit more target practice and taijutsu practice. After that he went to Ichiraku's again and ordered a really big meal of 10 miso ramen, 10 beef ramen and 10 chicken ramen. Once he finished his meal he went to the supermarket for some food. The second time he had gone to the compound he found out there was a small kitchen with basic cooking areas and storage areas. Seeing as it was the weekend he decided to spend his weekend in the compound training. If he planned on staying that long he would need to take some food with him. Once he had all he needed he headed for the compound to get some serious training done. Over the weekend though he mainly studied in the library. He would study many subjects: law, history, even a little on basic seal making. He would come out of the library to get food and would sometimes enter the vault, and went through the scrolls. It was here that he eventually found a seal his father had created, and he instantly found a use for it. It was a teleportation seal which would allow a person to be instantaneously transported from one seal to the other. All a person had to do was write the 2 locations in a certain area of the seal, and place them in those 2 areas. Then when the person wanted to teleport, all they had to do was put some chakra in the seal. The amount of chakra needed to use the seal would differ depending on the distance between the 2 seals. He set to work copying out the seal onto 2 different scrolls, using the seal equipment his father had left him. He would leave one out in the compound wherever he was when he left, and would keep the other in his apartment when he went back on Sunday. After figuring the transport problem out, he went back to his usual routine. After the academy was over, he would carry on his target practice. Even though he really didn't need it anymore thanks to the tips he got from QB, he still kept up the practice, as practice makes perfect. Iruka-sensei would always tell the class this when he was in charge of them. He also enjoyed the silence he got when he was training out there, even if the feeling of somebody watching him never went away. He could even swear he heard a gasp when he took his jacket and shirt off one summer afternoon because he was too hot in them. While he was at the compound, he would study, work on any new jutsus QB gave him until he could perform the jutsu in his sleep. For some reason QB had him learn each and every one of the different clone jutsus in the vault. By far, his favorite bunshin was the Kage bunshin. For one thing, it didn't require any substance to create it, and any knowledge his clones gained while in existence was instantly transferred to him when they were dispelled. He liked to use them when studying because he could study up to 10 times the usual amount of scrolls he read when in the library, which is a big reason why he knew as much as he did. Although he didn't like to use them when learning new jutsu unless they were used to attack him or defend against him when using the jutsu. When he asked QB why he had to learn all the bunshin, he said that clones were useful as shields or when performing Kawarimi no jutsu, since they would be the same shape and size as him, it would be easier to substitute with them and escape attack. Even though he performs the other clone jutsus pretty easily because they require more chakra to create, he still could not get the hang of the normal bunshin no jutsu. QB just figured this was because he had a large amount of chakra and the bunshin no jutsu required so little he would always overload the clones, making them useless. Out of all the clone jutsus, his favorite was the shadow clones. This was mainly due to the fact they didn't require any medium to create them, so he could make them anytime, anywhere. He also learned a few other jutsu. While at the compound, he did manage to read the scrolls left for him about his 2 clans. Suffice to say, he was impressed with the 2 Kekii Genkai, but he decided not to try them out until he made genin. Eventually, though, the weights he wore became light and he needed to make them heavier, so he looked through the seals his father had made and eventually found one that made things heavier, but from the look of it he would have to put the seal on his body as a tattoo. At first he didn't want to use the seal, but then he read that the seal would turn invisible and become passive, meaning it would stay on once Naruto used some chakra to activate it. He would also be able to increase his weight merely by using the ox hand seal and pouring more chakra into the seal. Each level the seal went up by, his body weight would be increased by 100 kg. If he needed to, he could also deactivate the seal completely, letting him go full speed and full strength. He would be able to use this as another trump card in a fight. So with the help of QB, he had the seal tattooed onto his back. When he first activated the seal, after taking off his weights and storing them in a closet at his apartment, he instantly had to increase the level of the seal to level 6. He got some strange looks when he went into the academy the next day. His friends of course didn't know they were weights, except Shikamaru. He figured out that they were weights the first day he saw Naruto. They just thought they were sweatbands he liked to wear. He explained by just saying he felt like a change. One thing that did surprise Naruto was when, on his 11th birthday, he walked out his front door ready to go to the academy in the orange jumpsuit he'd taken a liking to. When he almost stepped on a package that was left on his front doorstep. At first he was a little wary, thinking it was some sort of trick sent by the villagers. When he couldn't sense any chakra in the package, he thought it would be safe to at least pick it up. Once he got a better look at it, he saw it was actually addressed to him, but the sender had left out their name. This fact alone struck the Hokage off the list of people that might have sent him a gift. He had always sent things through the ANBU or signed the package to show he had sent it, and it couldn't be Iruka because he just usually took him out for ramen, or got him new kunai or shuriken. Naruto eventually just shrugged and opened the pack only to find a pair of goggles. He grinned and instantly put them on his forehead, just as he would with a Hittite. It felt good to wear them, so he decided to keep them on. Obviously he didn't notice the blush that a certain Hyuga in his class had seeing him wearing the goggles. By his final year at the academy he was very adept at using many jutsu, most of them defensive though. He also had very good knowledge of Konoha's history and laws. He also knew the rules of the being a ninja off by heart. Although he obviously didn't show this in his classes, he made it look like he knew only enough to pass. Even though he still had problems with the bunshin no jutsu. His weight seal had been very useful even if he had to increase the level every couple of weeks. Although he was sure he had broken through level 50 of the seal long ago, which places his current weight somewhere above 5,000 kg, he wasn't sure what the exact level was, but he kept going. He had even started using his own chakra to sustain the blood clone Kyuubi's conscience now resided in. Through all his training he had become very strong, very fast, and his already large chakra capacity had grown to be even larger. He could now sustain the blood clone through a whole weekend, even being able to perform a few simple jutsu at the same time. On his 12th birthday, though he had been resting in the bedroom he now used whenever he stayed at the compound on the weekends. It was the same place Kyuubi had taken him a few years back when he fainted from shock at seeing Kyuubi in the blood clone. He was about to drift off into a power nap when Kyuubi burst in. "Get up, kid! I've a new jutsu for you. Actually 3 to be exact." Naruto nearly jumped out of bed when he heard Kyuubi say this, all his tiredness gone from his eyes. "What are we waiting for then, Q-sensei? Let's get to the jutsu training area." Naruto had taken the liberty of naming some of the caverns since they didn't already have name. The one with all the elements gathered in it was called the jutsu training area, while another cavern which had some target posts in it and a larger clearing for sparring. He just called it the taijutsu training area, not very imaginative but straight to the point. When they got to the training area, Kyuubi had to explain a few things about these new jutsus before he was allowed to learn them. "I created these jutsu specifically for you to learn. They will be like a blood limit, if you will. No one will be able to copy them because you require my chakra to have been in your system at one point or another to use them. You will be able to use your chakra to use the jutsu, but they will be much stronger if my chakra is used. You may even be able to use the jutsu without the hand seals if you use my chakra." Naruto looked at Kyuubi with a twinkle in his eyes like he always did when learning a new jutsu. Kyuubi continued, "The first jutsu I'm going to teach you is a pupil jutsu. It's called Kitsune Busher no Jutsu, Fox Eye Jutsu, which will give you the power of my eyes. My eyes won't allow you to copy any jutsu like the Sharingan or give you a near 360-degree view of your surroundings like the Byakugan. What it will give you is the ability to see the chakra a ninja molds when using a jutsu. It will also tell you what kind of element the jutsu is, or when they are expelling chakra of any type to increase their abilities. It will also allow you to see fast-moving objects with relative ease. Now on to the hand seals." Kyuubi went on to do 3 hand seals and then finished with some new seal Naruto had never seen before. The jutsu, of course, had no effect since he already had the fox eyes active. "A Q-sensei? I've never seen that last hand seal before. What was it?" asked Naruto, genuinely confused. "Glad you asked, Naruto. That seal was one I created for the sole purpose of activating these jutsus. I call it the fox seal." Naruto nodded at this and started the jutsu. When he got to the new fox seal, it felt strange using it. It was basically a variation of the tiger seal, except the index and middle fingers were held horizontal to the ground and his thumbs were vertical, pointing upward. When he made the fox seal, his eyes started to itch for a few seconds as his irises turned red and his pupils became slits. When the jutsu was done, he saw something interesting about his body. Chakra was literally flowing out of him like the mist off of dry ice. He could see where his tenketsu were because that's where most of the chakra was coming out of. He turned to Kyuubi. "What's up with my tenketsu, Q-sensei? They're not keeping my chakra in my body. I was hoping you would notice that. I think this is reason for your abnormal chakra reserves and your incredible stamina. Because your body has always been leaking chakra, your body has had to work to replace that chakra. It could also be because of your Kekkei Genkai on your mother's side. Yes, I know about it. I'll teach you how to use it when you make genin," explained Kyuubi. "Now back to the Ijutsu. Watch as I perform a fire jutsu." Kyuubi sped through a set of seals, and as he was about to launch the attack, Naruto saw his chakra turn into fire. Kyuubi repeated the practice, but this time with a lightning jutsu, and again as he was about to launch his attack, Naruto saw the chakra turn into lightning. "So do you understand now what the eyes do?" Naruto nodded and deactivated the eyes. "Now this next one is pretty multi-purpose. You can use it for attacking, defending, or simply trapping your opponent." Again he ran through a set of hand seals and ended on fox. This time, though, the jutsu did have an effect. 9 tails shot from the lower part of Kyuubi's back. Each tail was orange with a white tip. This is called Kitsune Biko no Jutsu, foxtail jutsu. Now then, these tails are a form of henge, but they are reinforced with chakra. You can control these tails with your mind. You can use them to stab or slash your opponent, since the white tips can be sharpened or dulled to your liking. They can extend to 30 feet and more if you train with them. They are also able to block almost any attack as long as you're fast enough to block the attack. Now you try it." Naruto nodded, went through the seals, and felt the tails shoot from his lower back. "Whoa, that feels weird," he said as he had one of the tails come over his shoulder so he could get a better look at it. "Pretty fluffy. They'd probably be good when camping out to keep me warm." He then switched the tails round and struck one of the stalactites, which promptly fell. "Cool." He then used another tail to grab a stalactite and haul himself in the air. "I've got a lot of ideas for these things," he said, lowering himself to the floor. You done having fun? Kyubi asked. Yup, Naruto said as he jumped over. Right then, this third one is made purely for attacking. It's called the Kitsune no Jutsu, Fox Claw Jutsu. Instead of explaining, I'll just show you. Kyubi once again ran through several hand seals and finished on the fox seal. This time, what happened scared Naruto a bit. Kyubi's hands were now covered with red chakra that had taken the shape of claws. This jutsu can be done with your own chakra as well, but the claws will be blue and not as powerful. This jutsu is the most difficult to perform. In the last two, you just had to activate the jutsu and add chakra if needed, but you have to keep a constant flow of chakra into the jutsu to keep the claw's shape and potentness. It is constantly releasing chakra, so any strike you land on your opponent will do damage. Think of it as an inaccurate form of juken. If you manage to land a cut on your opponent, but it is not deep enough to kill or incapacitate him or her, then the chakra coming from the claws will act as a poison and bring them down from the inside by interfering with their chakra systems, and eventually render them unconscious or dead if you were to use my chakra in the jutsu. Kyubi explained, motioning for Naruto to try once he had deactivated the jutsu. Naruto tried the jutsu as he had the other two, but once on the fox seal his hands were surrounded by a large set of chakra claws which proceeded to flare up then die out. Naruto looked at Kyubi for answers. To put it simply, Kit, you used too much chakra to start the jutsu, and then you didn't release enough chakra to maintain the jutsu. You have to get the proportions of chakra you use just right to maintain the jutsu. Keep trying, Kit, you'll get it right eventually. Kyubi shouted over to an excited-looking Naruto as he sat down to watch the orange-clad ninja practice this new jutsu and make sure he didn't kill himself from chakra exhaustion. The Kit can be very stubborn and impatient when it comes to new jutsu. Just like you, Kushina, you would never stop until you could do it right or collapse trying. Kyubi let a small grin cross his face as he thought of his late friend and mother to his student. After 5 straight hours of practicing and some encouraging shouts from Kyubi, Naruto had finally gotten the jutsu down enough to hold it for up to an hour while striking at the walls, which were now covered in claw marks. How's that, Kyu-sensei? Asked Naruto, gasping for breath from exhaustion. Kyubi simply nodded and Naruto promptly fell into unconsciousness. Kyubi sighed and thought, you're just lucky it's a Friday, Kit. As he picked up the unconscious Naruto and took him to the bedroom he always used whenever staying over. Kyubi placed Naruto in the bed and said quietly, good work, Kit. You've excelled further than I thought you would. You'll pass the genin test without the use of the regular bunshin while keeping the cover of an underachiever. You'll find a way. I know you can come up with something. You surprised me even, sometimes with your alternative way of thinking. The genin exams at the academy were a few weeks away now. Naruto already knew which jutsu he had to perform to pass the exam. While he had no problem with the Kawarimi no Jutsu, he was dreading having to do the Bunshin no Jutsu. He still couldn't draw the small amount needed and kept on overloading the Bunshin, making them useless. He had thought about summoning more than just a couple of Bunshin. When he tried this, it did feel easier to create the Bunshin, but he couldn't make them look perfectly the same unless he created 50 or more Bunshin, and he didn't want to lose his cover as an underachiever. He was still thinking about this when a thought struck him. They don't have to see all the Bunshins I create, they just have to see 2 to 5 to let me pass. He quickly formulated a plan on how to get a passing grade on his Bunshins. He was in a better mood for most of the week. That was until Iruka had decided on holding sparring sessions at the end of the day. By some cruel twist of fate, he had somehow gotten paired off with the Uchiha Baka. Not only that, but by the time it was their turn to spar, everyone else had finished their sparring and had decided to watch them. Chapter 5: Fall of the Uchiha. Before he got in the sparring ring, he was given a nod of confidence from Shikamaru and a pat on the back with a hearty kick his ass from Kiba. Chuji was sitting to one side eating his chips. He turned to them and gave them a nod and a grin. He turned back to Sasuke with a serious look on his face. Sasuke just smirked at this and said, you may as well give up now, doe. I'm not gonna go easy on you. Having the pineapple head nerd and mudboy back in your corner isn't gonna help you one little bit. Sasuke's fangirls started giggling all around them. That was all the motivation Naruto needed. Nobody gets away with insulting my friends, Naruto thought fiercely, getting into the academy taijutsu stance. He would never use the taijutsu Kyubi taught him against Sasuke, partly because he wanted to keep his cover, partly because wanted to embarrass Sasuke by only using basic taijutsu. Sasuke slid down into an advanced taijutsu stance. A moment passed until Sasuke charged at Naruto, jabbing at his face. Naruto, on the other hand, had not moved an inch and just blocked everything thrown at him with his left arm. Eventually Naruto started using both arms to block and showed Sasuke's weak defenses to everyone. Kiba shouted, stop showing off and just finish him, Naruto. Naruto was all too happy to oblige. He blocked another hit aimed at his head, but instead of knocking Sasuke's arm away, he grabbed it. He pulled Sasuke in close and landed a swift right knee to Sasuke's gut. Naruto then let go of Sasuke as he staggered backwards, holding his stomach. After a second of heavy breathing from the Uchiha, he stood up straight and charged Naruto again. Naruto, still in his Academy Taijutsu stance, simply brushed off the attack and punched Sasuke in the gut again. Not letting up, he quickly spinned on his right heel and landed a mule kick right in Sasuke's chest. The last attack from Naruto had caused the Uchiha prodigy to fly a good few feet, out of the sparring ring and into a tree, meaning that Naruto had won the spar. Naruto walked past Sasuke's fangirls. Looking the Uchiha right in the eye, he snarled, "Never insult my friends. Ya got that, Uchiha Baka?" Emphasizing the word Baka. Having made his point, Naruto turned to leave when he felt a surge of chakra behind him. He then heard Sasuke say "Katon." As soon as Naruto heard that word, he sped through a set of hand seals faster than the other students could blink, and before the giant fireball could hit him or any of the other students, a wall of earth erupted from the ground directly behind him, blocking the fireball as he said quietly, "Doton, Daichi Hei no Jutsu, Earth Wall." Once Sasuke's fireball died down, he looked at the wall in front of him, and his jaw dropped. When the hell did the dobe turn that? He thought to himself. He didn't have much time to think because Naruto then dropped the wall and ran for him. When he got to Sasuke, he grabbed the scruff of his shirt, lifted him in the air, and started shouting. "What the hell do you think you're doing, TME? You could have seriously hurt everyone here with that stunt." "Put him down, Naruto," came a firm but understanding voice from behind him. He looked around to see Iruka-sensei glaring at Sasuke, having finally gotten over the shock of seeing Naruto's fight. Naruto lowered Sasuke gently onto the ground in front of him, then turned around and addressed Iruka. "Sorry, Iruka-sensei. I'm willing to accept my punishment for my outburst towards Sasuke-san." He said all this while bowing to Iruka. That's weird. Naruto runs away whenever he pulls a prank, but now he's owning up to his mistake. Guess the pranks are just for some attention, and he realizes what he did could mean expulsion if he had gone farther. He even used the san suffix for Sasuke after all he did. Iruka thought while softening his look on Naruto. "It's okay, Naruto, I can excuse your action towards Sasuke since you saved everyone from some nasty burns. I want to talk to you later about that jutsu you used though. Meet me at Ichiraka's in an hour." Naruto resisted the urge to smile at Iruka's words. "Sasuke though, I want you to come with me to see the Hokage about this. I could expel you for that stunt just now, but I'll let the Hokage choose your punishment. Come with me now. As for the rest of you, you're excused for the rest of the day." At that he started towards the Hokage tower, Sasuke in tow. Sasuke of course didn't leave without first giving Naruto a quick glare. Once Iruka had gone round the corner, and out of sight, everything went to hell. Sasuke's fangirls started shouting and hurling abuse at Naruto, things like, "That was mean of you, Naruto. And you were lucky that time, my Sasuke-kun is way better than you." The Ino and Sakura girls were the ones at the front of the group glaring at him. Although none of them dared try and attack him after they had seen what he could do. After a few seconds of this, he just turned to his friends and decided to spend some time with them, seeing as the academy finished early. Before walking away completely though, he turned back to them and said, "I can't believe you guys are still fawning over that team. If I hadn't used that jutsu at the last second, it would have been me and most of you girls that would have been burnt the worst. Something tells me that shows you how much he thinks of you girls. Think about that the next time you try and get his attention." The fangirls went quiet after hearing this and simply walked away in their separate directions. Some looked like they were deep in thought. Seeing that his words had the desired effect, he turned back to his friends. When he turned around though, he had a small shock to see that Hinata was there bowing in front of him. Thank you, and Naruto-kun, for blocking the fireball," she said while hiding the blush on her face with the bow. No problem, Hinata. From where you were standing though, I don't think you would have been burnt that much, but hey, at least there's one girl appreciating my help. I'm glad to see you're not part of those stupid fangirls either. You know, I think you may be the only girl that I actually respect, for the simple fact that you're not going after that Uchiha Baka. With that fact alone, it also means you have more brains than every one of those fangirls," Naruto said with a wide grin on his face. Hinata had listened intently on what Naruto had said and had turned several shades of red by the time he had finished his speech. She couldn't bear look up in case Naruto saw her face from all the blushing she had done. She quickly stood up, turned around and started walking home while saying, "Thank you, Naruto-kun, but I must go home now." Quickly over her shoulder. After walking several steps, she broke into a run. "Huh. Weird girl, but at least she isn't always fawning over Sasuke," Naruto said to no one in particular. He then carried on walking to his friends. "So guys, want to go do something until I have to go see Iruka-sensei?" he asked them all while wearing his usual grin and scratching the back of his head. "Sure. How about we have a race?" suggested Kiba. "Meh. Too troublesome," said Shikamaru in a bored voice. "I'd rather just stay here and watch the clouds." "Sounds good to me," Chuji said, putting in his 2 cents and lying next to Shikamaru. "Same here," said Naruto, dropping down next to 2 of his friends. "Damn, you guys are lazy," exclaimed Kiba. Grudgingly lying next to Naruto, Akamaru jumping onto his stomach. A fair amount of time passed in total silence until Shikamaru broke it. So what was up with the Hyuga girl Naruto? I saw you talking to her. Oh? She just wanted to thank me for stopping the team's fireball. Guess there's finally a girl with enough sense to not fawn over him, explained Naruto. Really? What did you say to her? Asked Shikamaru, still staring at the clouds, almost letting himself grin from what he knew. Huh. Well, I just said I respected her because she didn't fawn over him, and she had more brains than all those fangirls. Why do you ask? Questioned Naruto, looking over at Shikamaru confused. Because from the look of her face when she left it looked like she was really embarrassed from what you said. I think she may be sweet on you, exclaimed Shikamaru, grinning mischievously. What? No way. She's a Hyuga. There's no way she could have something for me, exclaimed Naruto, sitting up quickly and staring at Shikamaru. Heh. Think what you want, Naruto. Oh. You better get going, by the way, otherwise you're gonna be late for your meeting with Iruka-sensei, Shikamaru said, turning his eyes back skywards to watch the clouds again. Damn. You're right. See you guys tomorrow. At that, Naruto took off toward Ichiraku's. Kiba looked up to watch him leave, muttering, Damn. I wanted to ask him about that Doton jutsu he used. Well, some other time. He lay back down. Naruto was walking down the street towards Ichiraku's, hands in his pockets and deep in thought. How could Hinata have feelings for me? I mean, she's cute and all weight cute. Where'd that come from? Arg. I'm gonna have to think about this later. He quickly brought his thoughts back to the real world and noticed that he had already sat down, and Ayam was asking for his order. I'll have just one miso ramen for now, Ayam Nechan, thanks. Ayam turned around and started on his order. By the time his order was done, Iruka had arrived. Naruto, the reason I wanted to talk to you was to find out where you learned that jutsu you used today. If it's a secret, I won't press the matter further, but I would like to know if you're deliberately holding back in the academy, said Iruka with an understanding look in his eye. Naruto turned to Iruka without touching the ramen. I'm afraid it is a secret, Iruka-sensei, but you're right, I am holding back at the academy. Why though, Naruto? From what I saw today, you would have better grades than Sasuke if you wouldn't hold back, asked Iruka, a slightly angry look in his eye, since finding out his favorite student was holding back. Because Iruka-sensei, grades aren't everything. Besides, could you imagine someone's surprise when they found out I was stronger than my grades at the academy would lead them to believe? I'm holding back so people underestimate me, that gives me an advantage. Plus, I don't want to turn into Sasuke, thinking I'm better than everyone because my grades are the best, answered Naruto, feeling guilty over the deceit he had used on his sensei and friend. Iruka, noticing his guilt, smiled and ruffled his hair. Don't worry, Naruto. I forgive your lying to me. I'm glad to hear you're actually looking to future battles. To be honest with you though, I'm just glad I won't have to fail you in the genin exams. Could I get miso ramen, please? Thanks. What are talking about, Iruka-sensei? Asked Naruto, slightly confused. If you can perform that Doton jutsu I saw you use today, I'm sure you can find a way to pass the test next week, replied Iruka, smiling while grabbing some chopsticks for him and Naruto. Naruto gave off his foxy grin to his sensei, then turned to his ramen. He clapped his hands together like Iruka and they both said, Itadakimasu, before they both dug into their ramen. Naruto was walking back to the apartment. He had stayed with Iruka and talked about some other things while also eating lots of ramen, of course. By the time he had finally decided to get home, it had started getting dark. Guess I should skip training at the compound tonight. It's getting too late. No, you don't, Kit. As soon as you get over to the apartment, I want you to get your ass over here with that transport seal. I saw what you did today. Kyuubi barked in Naruto's mind. Naruto started sweating profusely and stammering back a reply. Q-sensei. I was going to tell you about today. Honest. I bet, replied Kyuubi. Naruto started running to the apartment. Once there, he went straight for the transport seal. Once he arrived at the compound, he noticed Kyuubi was already next to the seal with his arms crossed. Well? I'll excuse the use of the Doton jutsu since it was life and death. Also, you're lucky that your Iruka-sensei is very understanding. I was also glad to see that you trust him enough to tell him you're deliberately holding back and he has faith in you. But you were foolish to show your skill against the Uchiha in the first place. I was defending my friends, Q-sensei. I couldn't stand by and let Sasuke team insult them, replied Naruto. Kyuubi sighed and pinched the bridge of his nose. Goddamn. I guess I can't blame you, Kit. I would have probably done the same. Still, you could have handled the situation better. I have to admit though, I enjoyed the look on the Uchiha's face when you lifted him into the air. Kyuubi laughed a bit at this, as did Naruto. Alright, since I would have done the same, I'll go easy on you. Only 500 laps around the taijutsu training area and I want you to do 500 sit-ups and press-ups. If you still have enough time, you can go to the hot springs near the kitchen after you're done. Thanks Q-sensei, Naruto shouted as he ran towards the aforementioned training area. Naruto had gotten back to the apartment with a slight bit of pain in his body from the punishment Kyubi gave him. By the time he finished his shower and got to bed, though, all the pain was gone. The last thing to go through his mind, though, was, I hope Hinata passes the genin exams. He then fell into a dreamless sleep. Throughout the last few days before the exam, everything went as usual. Naruto kept up his training and his facade in the academy, even though everyone that had seen the fight between him and Sasuke knew he was holding back in terms of skill and strength. His friends didn't treat him any differently because of this. There were a few differences, though. Sasuke would glare daggers at Naruto every time he thought the knucklehead wasn't looking. Sasuke also had a lot less fangirls following him around now. Even the Ino girl had stopped going after him. Naruto, though, was sure he had seen a few girls following him, and he could have sworn he heard a group talking about him, but once he got close enough to hear more, they suddenly went quiet. After a while he decided to ignore it and carry on. It was the day before the exams, and Naruto was jumping from rooftop to rooftop trying to get away from the ANBU chasing him for his latest prank. Obviously he could easily hide from them, or just create some bunshin of some sort to distract them. But of course, he thought, where's the fun in that? That and the fact he had raised the level of his weight seal again that morning, so he needed some way of getting used to it without having to just run laps. Eventually, though, he was caught, only after deciding to let them, of course. He had once again painted the Hokage faces, this time making them look like kabuki actors. Once again his only punishment was washing all the paint off the monument. It didn't take him long to clean up. Since he used a water-soluble paint, it was pretty easy getting it all off. The fact that it was Iruka watching him again only made it easier, since he allowed him to use a Swate Unjutsu to clean most of the paint off. Afterwards they went to Ichiraku's and had a few bowls of ramen together. Before they both left for home, though, Iruka spoke up, Naruto, you do have a plan for the exam tomorrow, don't you? Yes. I do, Iruka-sensei. If you want to find out what it is, though, you're gonna have to wait until tomorrow, and if you could, Iruka-sensei. Will you make it so I get to go last for the test? Asked Naruto with a glint in his eye. I'll see what I can do, Naruto. Now get home and get some rest. I don't want you showing up late for the academy, answered Iruka. At that, Naruto started running home while shouting, thanks sensei. See ya tomorrow, over his shoulder. The next day Naruto made sure to wake up early, get washed and dressed, get breakfast from Ichiraku's and get to the academy before it even opened. He waited outside the gates for an hour while Shikamaru and the guys arrived and talked to them for a while. During this time he also realized that Sasuke was watching them from a tree with a swing on it across the road from the academy entrance. He wondered if he should confront the Uchiha about it, but voted against it on the grounds it would be too much trouble. Once the gates to the academy opened, he went inside with everyone. Once in, he went straight for the list that said when he would be tested. He was happy to see Iruka had managed to make his test last. For most of the day he carried on talking to his friends, and noticing the glances he got from some of the kunoichi in training. Everyone who went into the exam room came out with their own Hittite. Thing is, he knew that most of them would be back in the academy in a few days if they didn't pass the exam the Jounin instructor gave them. He knew all about the second exams and a lot of the techniques that were used to find out if the three-man cell would have good teamwork. Eventually his turn finally came. He walked into the room and was happy to see it was small enough for him to carry out his plan easily. He turned to the two instructors across the room and a grin spread across his face seeing that Iruka was one of them. After a second of getting warmed up, he signaled he was ready to begin the exam. Chapter 6, First Real Fight. Last time. Eventually his turn finally came. He walked into the room and was happy to see it was small enough for him to carry out his plan easily. He turned to the two instructors across the room and a grin spread across his face seeing that Iruka was one of them. After a second of getting warmed up, he signaled he was ready to begin the exam. This chapter. Alright Naruto. First off, I want you to perform the Kawarimi no Jutsu. You can use anything in the room to substitute yourself, announced Iruka from behind the desk. Naruto looked around the room quickly, then turned back to both instructors. He went through the hand seals fairly slow and finally yelled, Kawarimi no Jutsu. He promptly disappeared in a cloud of smoke. Once the smoke cleared, it showed a very surprised-looking instructor, and where he had been sitting a very smug-looking Naruto. Not bad. I guess I can pass the Kawarimi, mused Naruto, acting like an instructor. Iruka just gaped at Naruto sitting next to him. How much has he been holding back? A Kawarimi like that is ranked as a high Chunin level jutsu, thought Iruka, quickly closing his mouth. Alright Naruto, very impressive, please go back to your place for the second test, Iruka said while motioning for the other instructor to come sit back down, and then writing something on his clipboard. Naruto got up and went back to standing in the middle of the room. Okay, the second jutsu I want to see is the Bunshin no Jutsu. I need you to create 2 to 5 Bunshin for me. As soon as Naruto heard this, he started concentrating, trying to control where the Bunshin would appear. He went through the seals after a few minutes and produced 5 perfect clones of himself in the room. Excellent, Naruto. You passed the test, here's your Hittite. Iruka said while picking up the last Hittite from the table and walking around to Naruto to give it to him. Yes. I knew I could make it work, yelled Naruto while taking the Hittite and jumping in the air. When he finally calmed down, he spoke to Iruka. Iruka-sensei? Could I talk to you alone for a second? Iruka understood what he wanted to do. He turned to the other instructor and signaled him to leave the room. Once the other instructor left, Naruto spoke again, but in a lower volume, and he still had not dispelled the clones. If you want to find out how I managed the Bunshin no Jutsu, Iruka-sensei, just look out the window. Iruka did just as Naruto suggested and looked outside. What he saw surprised him, to put it simply. In the training grounds outside the academy window and hiding in some of the trees around the academy building were upward to around 100 Narutos, all of them either just standing or trying to hide. Iruka started to ask questions but was then drawn back to the site before he could finish the question. The sheer number of clones astounded him. After a full 5 minutes turning to Naruto and then to the site outside, Naruto finally decided to dispel the clones. Once all of them were gone, Iruka finally managed to calm down and talk straight, but before he said anything he just turned to Naruto and gave off a huge smile. So I'm guessing you've been practicing on where the Bunshin appear when you summon them, haven't you? That's why you took a few minutes before performing the jutsu. You got it in one, sensei, answered Naruto with a huge grin. I won't even ask about the number of Bunshin you summoned. Either way, good work, Naruto. Now come on, I gotta give instructions to everyone about what happens next, explained Iruka while leading him out of the exam room. By the time Naruto and Iruka arrived at the classroom, Naruto had lowered the goggles so they were now around his neck and had tied his Hittite around his head, now adorning where his goggles used to be. He grinned at the guys and took a seat next to Kiba, who was giving him a thumbs up. When everyone went quiet, Iruka started his speech about how they should always work hard and never stop practicing even though they had become genin now. Eventually he got to the part about what they had to do now. Tomorrow morning you are to come back here and find out which teams you are going to be in. You will then be picked up by your new Jounin instructors and they will be in charge of you from there on. Alright, you're dismissed. As soon as the last word left Iruka's mouth, everyone started filing out and going home to tell their families about their success. Naruto, of course, simply said his goodbyes to the guys and started towards Ichiraku's for some celebratory ramen. Once he got there, he was given a hearty "Congratulations" from both Iam and Tucci, and to his delight was given a free first bowl of ramen of his choosing. Obviously he went with the biggest bowl with the most toppings, the Ichiraku Supreme Ramen. Even after the first bowl he managed to pack a few more bowls in until his 4th bowl. QB spoke up. Hey Kit, get back here! I got something for you for passing the genin exam. Naruto mentally nodded at this and had a 5th bowl before finally paying for it and heading to the apartment. When he got to the compound, QB told him to head for the bedroom he used. When he got there, the first thing he noticed were the clothes on the bed. He especially noticed the gauntlets/forearm guards laid on either side of the jacket. Now that you made genin, I don't want you wearing that jumpsuit anymore. Don't complain, it's for your own good. The suit is practically screaming, hit me. I'm an easily visible target. Now try on these clothes, they used to be your father's, so they should fit you. Once you're done changing, meet me in the jutsu training area. We'll start working to see if you have either Kekkei Genkai. Although something tells me you have your mother's Kekkei Genkai, I'm not sure about your father's. Having said what he wanted to say, QB left for the training area. Naruto took off his jumpsuit, so he was wearing only his boxers, goggles, and Hittite. He pulled the pants on first. They were slightly shorter than his usual pants, except they were black with an orange stripe going down the outer leg. Unlike his old pants, they didn't require a belt to hold up, as there was elastic in the waistband and around the ends of the legs, meaning they wouldn't catch on anything. Even though a belt wasn't needed to hold the pants up, there were still loops to hold the belt in place. Once he had them on, he grabbed the 2 kunai holsters and strapped them to both thighs. He then grabbed a belt which had another 2 utility pouches on them and a few special pouches for holding scrolls and seal-making equipment. The belt fit loosely on him, which made the pouches drop slightly, since he had long since burned the baby fat off his stomach and had a well-toned six-pack. He then grabbed a sleeveless steel mesh shirt and pulled it on. He didn't really like it at first because it didn't cover him up much. He grabbed a set of straps with kunai holsters on it and figured out they were to be worn underneath the jacket, so he put it on and made sure to tighten the straps and close the buckle that went over his chest. When he got to the jacket, he was fairly happy because it had the red swirl. Although it was a slightly darker red, he loved on the back. It was roughly the same as Shikamaru's, except the sleeves had been ripped off. It was black like the pants and made of leather. The inside, though, was lined with a white cotton fabric. When he had the clothes on, he looked in the mirror to right of the bed. Not bad, I guess, he thought, while looking at his shoulders and biceps. He was muscular but also lean. The muscles didn't look out of place on him thanks to this. He turned back around and pulled on a pair of ninja sandals exactly like his old ones, except they were black. He then took the gauntlets. The underside was padded with the same white cotton as the jacket, except they weren't completely blank. There were seals on the underside, but there was something strange about them. It took Naruto a few minutes, but he figured it out. The seal had been flipped over, which meant that whatever was sealed in it appeared above the metal plate side of the gauntlet. He wondered what it could be, but just slapped them on instead. He had already taken too long. Kyuubi was probably getting impatient. When Naruto got to the jutsu training area, Kyuubi was sitting in the clearing with the scrolls on the Kekkai Genkai to either side of him, and a few smaller scrolls in front of him. He looked up at Naruto and smiled. "You look like your father now, kid, and a true ninja. Something tells me you noticed the seals on the bottom of the gauntlets. Before you ask, just try unlocking the seal." Naruto looked at Kyuubi, surprised he could read him so easily. He did as Kyuubi said and unlocked the seal on his right gauntlet, and there was a puff of smoke. To Naruto's surprise, there was now a blade about a foot and a half long, now curving along the top of his arm. "Whoa! Cool!" was all he managed to say. He then sealed the blade back in the gauntlets. "It's the same with the other before you even try the left one." Naruto frowned and pouted at him mockingly. "Don't give me that face, kid. We're here to find out if you have those Kekkai Genkai your mother and father had, not to check out your new clothes. Now then, from what I've noticed with my eyes, and you've already seen yourself, your tenketsu are always releasing a steady flow of chakra whether you're trying to release it or not. I've also noticed that your chakra is a little denser. It's not as translucent as other chakra I've seen. This means you already have your mother's Kekkai Genkai. It's just a matter of harnessing it. As you've already read in the scroll, you have to use these hand seals to make the chakra surround your body instead of roll off it." Kyuubi unrolled the Uzumaki clan scroll at this point. "Once you've used these clan hand seals, you can manipulate the chakra to spin and block attacks, or you can push that chakra out and make it an attack. For now, just use the hand seals and we'll see what happens." Naruto nodded to Kyuubi and looked over the hand seals. They were all different to the 12 he had learned in the academy. Some didn't even require both hands. After memorizing each one in sequence, he went through them slowly. There were 20 in total. When he completed them all, he suddenly felt full of chakra and his skin felt itchy. "That's it, kid. Your tenketsu are narrowing. There's less chakra coming out, and the chakra that is coming out is sticking to your body. Alright, kid, activate the Kitsune Bushu no Jutsu, so you can see for yourself." Naruto did as Kyuubi suggested and went through the seals. When he activated the fox eyes, what he saw excited and shocked him. Just a few centimeters above his skin was a layer of his chakra. It wasn't falling off him like it did the last time he activated the eyes. It was like a second skin. "You're going to be really glad I made the Kitsune Bushu no Jutsu for you, kid," exclaimed Kyuubi. "Why is that, Kyu-sensei?" asked Naruto, looking up from his new second skin, tilting his head to one side. "Because this way it'll be easier for you to learn to control your Rasen Kiku, spiral armor, the Kekkai Genkai you inherited from your mother. Using the eyes, you can see the chakra that's covering your body. This will make it easier to control it and master the Kekkai Genkai. Now I'm going to throw a light punch to your chest. Try and spin the chakra to block it," Kyuubi said while getting up and walking over to Naruto. He waited a second for Naruto to get ready and threw his punch. Naruto was surprised to say the least. He had managed to spin the chakra at the last minute, but it wasn't nearly enough to block the attack. When Kyuubi's punch connected, he had at least expected to fall on his ass, but all he felt was a light tap. "You're lucky, kid. The spin and the dense chakra was enough to slow down my attack. I suggest you carry on practicing with some sort of clones for now. I'm going to prepare for the awakening of the Namikaze Kekkai Genkai if you have it." As Kyuubi had suggested, Naruto summoned about 30 shadow clones and had all of them punch him one at a time while he stopped and restarted spinning his chakra skin. Every time he restarted the spin, it felt easier to start and speed up. After a couple of hours, Naruto could block multiple hits on different parts of his body from his shadow clones. Eventually, he even asked Kyuubi to hit him again with more force and was, to Kyuubi's surprise, able to block it easily. "Seeing as you're so confident with your defending, let's try your attacking with the chakra. All you've got to do is force more chakra out of the point you're attacking with while spinning your chakra. It should do a large amount of damage to your opponent." Once this was said, Naruto went back to practicing with his shadow clones. He had them attack him, and instead of just spinning the chakra, he also forced a lot of chakra out. What he saw thanks to the Fox Eye Jutsu, he liked it a lot. The first time he tried it, he found it difficult to keep the chakra spinning, but it got easier. Every time a clone hit him, it instantly poofed out of existence with a satisfying pop. Eventually, he got bored of just forcing chakra out though and tried shaping it more. He soon got to the point of making a ball of chakra covering his fist instead of acting like a second skin. He also made the chakra spin lots of different ways instead of just the one way and condensed it more until he knew it was visible to human eyes. He knew because he deactivated the fox eyes to check it every now and then. He tried punching a stalagmite with the finished product and was happy to see it blew up the stone spike. Of course, this didn't go unnoticed by Kyuubi. When he saw Naruto form the ball and slam it into the stalagmite though, he had one thought go through his head: son of a dash. Either he just thought that up or he's been looking through too many offensive jutsu scrolls and found his father's Rasengan. Hey Kit! What did you just do there? Asked Kyubi, his voice full of surprise. Naruto turned round and saw Kyubi staring at him wide-eyed. He thought he was in trouble at first but then saw that it was shock that was in Kyubi's eyes. Well, I got bored of just forcing chakra out, so I decided to play around a bit with shaping the chakra and condensing it. A ball was the easiest shape to make, and it was easy to make around my fist. I wanted to see what kind of damage I could do with it, and that's how this happened, said Naruto, motioning to the pieces of rock strewn around the floor. I was gonna try to just make a block of condensed chakra next that would just be a hard and heavy hitter. Thing is, it's really easy to make stuff out of chakra with the fox eye jutsu you gave me, cause I can see the chakra take shape without having to condense it. That ball I just made had chakra spinning around in it, so I think that's what made the rock blow up. I think a block of condensed chakra would probably just smash it instead of make it blow up. I also want to try and push out some chakra and flatten it, then sharpen it, making some kind of chakra sword or blade coming out of my hand. And Naruto carried on like this for a few minutes while making gestures with his hands of how he would attack using these different shapes and densities of chakra. All Kyubi could do was smile at Naruto's imagination. He's already trying to make it different to the usual Kekkei Genkai by using jutsu he alone possesses. This kid is going to go far. Just then Kyubi heard something in the forest outside the compound with his sensitive hearing. Kyubi interrupted Naruto's train of thought with a "SSH Kit. There's something going on outside in the forest. Sounds like 3 people and they're fighting about something. We better take a look, Kit." Kyubi guided Naruto to the entrance and opened the door. Thankfully the waterfall covered the noise of the opening door, which meant unless you were standing right next to the door you would never hear it open. When they got out of the compound they noticed it was already dark. "Kit! Over there! By the 2 largest trees to your right," whispered Kyubi to Naruto, while they were sliding along the wall, getting out from behind the waterfall. Naruto looked over to where Kyubi had told him. Thanks to the fox eyes, which were still active, he could see fairly clearly in the darkness. He could clearly see 3 figures, one on the floor being held down by another while the third was talking to the one being held down. Kyubi signaled to be quiet because they were going to get closer to see what was happening. They took to the tree branches and jumped silently closer, using the mental link to talk if the need arose. When Kyubi stopped on a branch almost directly above where the figures were standing, Naruto could feel Kyubi's rage through the mental link. He started wondering what was wrong, that was until he landed right next to him and saw the 3 clearer. Standing up was Mizuki, a Chunin instructor Naruto had seen in the academy. On his back was a couple of large Fuma shuriken and a large scroll the same size as the clan scrolls from the compound. Naruto didn't particularly like him since he had always ignored Naruto during any lessons he was teaching. Naruto couldn't tell who the one holding the third person was because he couldn't see the person's face. The third person on the floor though, he could see the person's hair and he instantly knew who it was on the floor. Naruto now understood Kyubi's anger and shared it. On the floor was Iruka, the only instructor at the academy to respect and have faith in Naruto, Kyubi's kit. Before Kyubi could do anything, Naruto jumped down and knocked out the ninja holding Iruka in a blind rage. He then turned to Mizuki. "Well, speak of the devil, or should I say demon? Ha! I was just wondering how Iruka could have believed in a demon gaki like you. You know what he said? He said it was because you aren't the demon, that you're just a child that grew up parentless because of the demon, just like him. Now that's a laugh. I have to say I was surprised he didn't kill you the first day he met you. You know why? Because it was you who killed his parents, demon. And now I'm going to do something he didn't do and something the village should have done 12 years ago, namely kill you," Mizuki said as he detached one of the Fuma shuriken from his back. "I'm going to have to kill Iruka after you, of course. Somebody just can't steal the Hokage's scroll of jutsu and leave a witness." Mizuki threw the shuriken at Naruto upon saying this. Mizuki of course didn't know that Naruto could just block the shuriken with his newly mastered Rasen Kiku. Sadly either did Iruka. Just before the shuriken hit, to everyone's surprise, Iruka had put himself between the large shuriken and Naruto, blocking the shuriken. Naruto looked in horror at the pained look on Iruka's face and caught him as he fell. "Iruka-sensei. You didn't have to do that." The shuriken. "Yes, I did have to do that, Naruto." Iruka broke in. "I don't blame you, Naruto, for my parents' death. I know you are merely the jailer, not the demon. I've seen that. I saw the first day I met you. It was in your eyes. You were sad, lonely, and lacked the love a mother and father gave. It was the exact same for me when my parents were killed by the Kyubi all those years ago." Tears were streaming down Iruka's face now. "I don't care what the villagers think of you. You will be Hokage and the villagers will look up to you. Now run! Get away and find somewhere to hide so you can survive and realize your dream." Iruka passed out a few seconds after saying this. Naruto looked at the motionless body of his sensei, the closest thing he probably had to a father, and something in him snapped. "How can I run? If I run, the villagers will never look up to me. I'll be looked upon as a coward who left his sensei to die in the middle of a fight. He said to no one in particular. Mizuki, you will pay for your treason to Konoha and your treachery towards your fellow shinobi. I have estimated the sentence of such crimes to be death. Naruto looked up. He had now tapped into Kyuubi's chakra, for he had activated the Kitsune-sama no Jutsu without the hand seals, and the claws were red. Mizuki looked in horror at what he saw, for it wasn't until that moment that he saw Naruto's red eyes, and his fear only increased from the appearance of the chakra-made claws. Naruto then continued to make earth clones, water clones, and shadow clones, and issued one single command attack. All hell broke loose at that moment as Mizuki tried to block the attacks of the clones. Some had the same glowing claws as the real Naruto. Even though he managed to defend himself, just about, he was just too outnumbered to keep it up. Eventually he was hit by a particularly strong kick to his back and was jumped on by the clones in his defenseless state. He was further kicked, clawed, punched, and even had Naruto's new Kekkai Genkai attack used on him. It was this moment that Kyuubi decided to step in. He placed a hand on Naruto's shoulder and gave him a solemn look. Naruto knew exactly what Kyuubi was trying to tell him, and he calmed, instantly dispelling the clones with large splashes and pops and crumbling as they all returned to their original raw materials. After the smoke cleared, it revealed a very bloody, bruised, battered, and very much alive Mizuki. It is not your place to judge him, Kit. If you killed him now, you would only be proving him right and that you're a monster, but you're better than that. Leave his sentencing to the Hokage. Now let's send a flare for the ANBU to find you guys. I'm going to go back to the compound. I don't want you to be any more trouble. I'll watch what happens through the mental link. See ya later, Kit. At that, Kyuubi ran back to the compound and established the mental link so he could watch over Naruto. Naruto sat down next to Iruka-sensei and quickly went through some hand seals. He sent a flare up from his hand, and ANBU arrived within a few minutes to find him holding Iruka and crying silent tears. When he saw them, he instantly asked them to take care of Iruka, asking them to use any healing jutsu they knew on him to stem the flow of blood from the gaping wound in his back. That night Naruto stayed in the Hokage's office after the ANBU had escorted him there to be questioned. He lied, obviously, to cover up the fact that he was being trained by Kyuubi. He told the Hokage that he had been jumping around the village rooftops because he was happy about making genin and couldn't sleep. How he had seen Mizuki and the other nin take Iruka from his home and drag him to the forest to frame him for the theft of the scroll. And finally how he had jumped in to try and save Iruka only to be saved by him, and then take revenge for his fallen sensei by using his Kekkai Genkai, which he only found out about that night during the fight. Leaving out all the clones and activating his fox-based jutsu for obvious reasons. The Hokage believed every word and immediately sent Mizuki and his partner in crime to be incarcerated until further notice. He then informed Naruto that Iruka would be okay. That Iruka just needed a bit of medical jutsu and a blood replenishment pill, and he would be back in the academy in the morning to work again. Naruto brightened up at this piece of information and thanked the Hokage as he dismissed Naruto. Leaving the Hokage tower, Naruto noticed that the sun was already rising. He decided to go to Ichiraku's and see what he could get for breakfast. When he got there, he was happy to see that they just opened up for the day. What? Naruto-kun? What are you doing here so early? Anyway, I'm afraid I haven't even started on the broth yet, so I don't have any ramen, explained Tuchi. Naruto looked up at the old man with a grin and said, That's okay, Aji-san, I'll just have some ohagi and some green tea. Onagai. Tuchi looked at Naruto with a kindly smile and said, Coming up, kiddo. He turned around and started to walk into the back while shouting, Hey, I am. Get some ohagi and green tea made for our #1 customer. A few minutes later, I am walked out with a tray full of ohagi and propped it in front of Naruto. Wow, what happened to Naruto? He usually wears that jumpsuit of his. Guess he thought it wasn't good to wear if he was going to be a ninja, but wow. A body like that. I shouldn't complain, and none of the girls at the academy aren't going to complain either. I wish he could be just a few years older. Arigato, I am Chan, he said in a cheerful voice and started munching down on the food. You're here early, Naruto-kun. I know. You were probably too excited at becoming a genin to sleep last night, and probably stayed up all night, didn't you? Naruto just nodded at this, not wanting to worry her with the truth. I knew it. You're so full of energy all the time, I'm surprised if you can sleep at all. I'll be right back with you green tea. K. She left with her usual cute grin. Man, I'm glad I found this ramen place back when I started the academy. Not only do they have great food, but they don't fear or hate me here either, and it's nice to have a girl look at me with a smile instead of just hit me and tell me to bug off. Naruto thought as he waited for Ayam to get back with the green tea. A few minutes later, and she came back and placed the cup next to the tray. Naruto finished the ohagi he was eating and drank some of the tea. He just stayed there for a half hour talking to Ayam and enjoying his breakfast. Eventually he looked at his watch and decided it was time to go. He grabbed the last ohagi and finished off the tea. He thanked Ayam and Tuchi, paid for the food and started walking toward the academy. When he got there, he found the gates already open early and walked straight for his class while he finished his breakfast. When he got there he sat down and waited for everyone else. The next person to get there was Sasuke, which he had already guessed would come in early. Sasuke looked at Naruto wide-eyed, at first surprised to see him wearing anything other than his orange jumpsuit and actually early to class. He then just went to sit down in his usual spot by the window. About half an hour after that he saw Hinata walk in the back door and take her usual seat in the corner. After that, some of Sasuke's remaining fangirls arrived and argued over who would sit next to him. They didn't even look at Naruto as they came in. After that, another group of girls walked in. They saw him and all of a sudden they were fawning over him like Sasuke's fangirls were for him. At the front of this group was the Ino girl that used to fawn over Sasuke until the fireball incident. At first he just sat there blushing while they were grabbing his shoulders and biceps, feeling how firm they were and squealing with delight. After a while they started arguing who got to sit with him. It was at this time that he decided to sneak away and sat up at the top, all the way at the other end of where Hinata was sitting. Seeing him closer, of course she noticed his new clothes and how the mesh shirt showed his toned upper body and the jacket showed off his muscular arms. She of course kept getting drawn to his open jacket, seeing his chest and stomach. After a few seconds of staring she quickly turned away as she had a small nosebleed and a very deep red blush. After a while Kiba and the guys walked in and noticed that Naruto was up at the back and called him to come back to the middle. His new fangirls noticed this and immediately rushed to him at the back of the classroom and restarted the initial attack all over again. Naruto made a mental note to get Kiba back for that later. While Kiba, Chuji and Shikamaru stared in shock at Naruto's newfound popularity. They later noticed his new getup and figured out why the girls went crazy for him, and he saved a lot of them from Sasuke's fireball earlier that month. Thankfully for Naruto, Iruka decided to walk in at that very moment, and after getting over the initial shock of seeing Naruto's new fan club and his new ninja uniform, called for everyone to sit down. Naruto managed to get stuck with Ino and another girl sitting either side to him happily. Naruto had never thought of getting a girlfriend because he was always so busy training at the compound. Sure, he thought some of the girls were cute, but he never asked any of them out. In fact, he didn't want to have a girlfriend until he was at least Chunin. Then he figured he could spend more time with her because he could choose his missions more freely. Iruka shouted, "All right. I'm now going to sort you guys out into your 3-man teams and assign you your team number. Once I'm done you will sit down with your new teammates and wait for your Jounin instructor to pick you up. Now then, Team 1. Chapter 7, A Familiar Jounin. Last time. Iruka shouted, "All right. I'm now going to sort you guys out into your 3-man teams and assign you your team number. Once I'm done you will sit down with your new teammates and wait for your Jounin instructor to pick you up. Now then, Team 1. This chapter. Iruka carried on like this for a few minutes. Naruto didn't care much for finding out the rest of the teams, so he just zoned out and tried to ignore all his new fangirls looking at him. When Iruka finally called out his name and he snapped back to reality, Uzumaki Naruto, Haruno Sakura and Uchiha Sasuke. You will make up Team 7. At the moment of hearing this, Naruto contemplated committing seppuku right then and there with a kunai. Can't hurt that much, can it? Dreading the thought of having to be in the same team as the squealer and the stuck-up. Sakura was inwardly jumping for joy because she was on the same team as Sasuke. Alright, I'm with Sasuke. He's bound to ask me out now. Sasuke was thinking why they had to be put in a team to begin with. If they get in my way, I'll kill them myself. Every girl in the room, including Hinata, thought the same thing about Sakura at that moment. Lucky forehead girl. I should be with Naruto/Sasuke. The three then sat down together so everyone else could be put in their own teams. After Iruka was done, he told them all they had to wait until after lunchtime for their new instructors to pick them up. At that, everyone got up and walked with their teams to get lunch together. Naruto, Sakura and Sasuke did walk out the building together, but as soon as Sakura asked Sasuke if he wanted to eat lunch with her, he disappeared. Naruto spoke up, I would ask you if you want to join me for lunch seeing as we're teammates now, but something tells me you're gonna say no. Sakura turned on him and started shouting, Naruto. Shut up. At this point she had finally turned around and taken notice of his new clothes. She obviously also noticed how his new clothes showed off the body he would usually cover up with the jumpsuit. She just stood there open-mouthed and gawking at his body. Naruto waited a couple of seconds expecting her to answer him. He then waved his hand in front of her eyes. Sakura-san? Hello? When she didn't answer, he just shrugged and walked off for Ichiraku's. When he turned the corner, Sakura managed to snap out of her shock and sighed when she saw that Naruto had ditched her. In her shocked state, she then went to find a bench where she could enjoy her lunch. Naruto just walked back the same way he had come from that morning to get back to Ichiraku's. It had gotten a lot more busy since the morning. He could see that a lot of the villagers still glaring at him, but he also felt another sort of stare on him. He just couldn't shake it or understand what it was about. until he remembered what it felt like when those fangirls were staring at him. When he figured that out, he instantly took to the rooftops, in case he might get swarmed again. Thanks to his little detour to the rooftops, he managed to make it over to Ichiraku's in record time. He managed to sneak under the curtain and onto the stool without being noticed by the young female villagers, thankfully. He ate a few bowls and then decided to leave before he was found. He decided to find Sasuke to have a talk with him about being in the same team. He took to the rooftops again, hoping to see Sasuke somewhere on the way back to the academy. Where would the team go to eat lunch? He was thinking while going from one roof to another. I'm gonna have to up the weight again when I get to the compound tonight. I feel too light. He kept up his pace while also taking a few detours, checking out likely places for Sasuke to be. Eventually he did find Sasuke moping around and eating some gohan in what looked like his apartment. Naruto jumped down to be outside the window and got Sasuke's attention. Hey Sasuke team. Sasuke, being surprised, choked on the bite he had just taken. What do you think you're doing, dope? Wait, scratch that, why are you here? Asked the Uchiha with a glare after he managed to cough up the rice. I wanted to talk with you. Since we're gonna be teammates, could we at least forget we hate each other during training and missions so we don't get each other killed? Answered Naruto, looking the Uchiha in the eye. What's the matter, dope? Afraid I won't protect you? Said the Uchiha with a smirk. Yeah, right, said Naruto under his breath. I'm more afraid of you being too arrogant to ask for my help and getting yourself killed, replied Naruto with a bit of venom lacing his words. Sasuke narrowed his eyes at Naruto now and said, fine, but don't get in my way or I'll kill you myself. That goes for that pink-haired fangirl that's always following me around as well. Naruto sighed and started back for the academy. Guess that was the best I could have hoped for with his arrogance. Not to mention his obsession with killing his brother. Something tells me he'll be more trouble than he's worth, Kit. Kyubi offered. Something tells me you're right, Q-sensei. I'm still gonna try though. As you know, I never give up. Naruto told Kyubi as he grinned. Team 7 had been waiting 3 hours now for their new Jounin instructor. Everyone else had already been picked up by their instructors. Naruto was sitting at the back where he went to try and escape the fangirls, while Sasuke was sitting in the usual spot. Sakura, on the other hand, was torn. She had no idea who she should sit next to. She was now infatuated with Naruto because she had seen his well-sculpted body, but she was also infatuated with Sasuke because he had that mysterious air around him. She did the only thing she could think of doing at that moment, and that was sit down in front while looking at the two. What do you think's up with Sakura, Q-sensei? Asked Naruto to Kyubi. If I didn't know better, Kit, I would say she's wondering which of you looks better, and depending on her decision she's now going to be that person's fangirl. Answered Kyubi matter-of-factly. Well, the team can have her. She's too prissy for my liking. Naruto thought, not liking the way she was looking at him like a piece of meat. I wouldn't worry about it, Kit. From the look on her face, she's going to take her time deciding. Kyubi comforted Naruto. Naruto relaxed a little more on hearing that. He started wondering why the instructor was so late when Kyubi spoke up again. Think about it, Kit. You've read all those ninja statistics that your father left you. Try and figure out who it is from that. It'll help with your problem-solving skills. Naruto liked the idea. It would at least keep his mind busy. Alright, so we know it's not Sarutobi Asuma or Yuhi Kurenai. They would have been top of my list of wanted instructors from what I read about them. The other Jounin that came here weren't anything special. Our Jounin is late though. Now which Jounin have I read about can be late? Hell. What is it, Kit? Asked Kyubi, slightly alarmed. I think I just figured out who our instructor is gonna be. The only hint I'm gonna give you is that he knows who my father was, replied Naruto. Ah, shit. I was hoping you wouldn't get his lazy ass. Knowing the village council, they probably set it up like this so he could train their precious Uchiha on how to activate and use his Sharingan. Figured Kyubi. Doesn't matter, I got you to train me. He'll be good enough to help protect us during missions, won't he? Plus I'll finally get to thank him for saving me that night 6 years ago. Reasoned Naruto. You still remember that, Kit? Exclaimed Kyubi. I guess you're right though, he is good enough to protect you guys while on a mission. At that moment Naruto felt the door behind him open. He instantly grabbed a kunai from one of the holsters under his jacket and threw it over his shoulder. It embedded itself in the door frame right in front of the Jounin's face. Both Sasuke and Sakura looked at him strangely. You're late, sensei, Naruto said as he turned around to see the Jounin walk in with his one eye not giving any emotion away. He grabbed the kunai and tossed it back to Naruto, who caught it with ease and placed it back in the holster under his jacket. Now that wasn't a very nice greeting. I wasn't that late, he said in a sort of monotone. Either way, I want to meet you all on the roof, now. At that he disappeared in a puff of smoke, but not before a thought passed through his head. That was an interesting greeting. Naruto looked at Sasuke and Sakura and contemplated the use of the same jutsu to get to the roof and give them a surprise, but decided against it. We better get going, was all Naruto said as he got up to leave. When the three got to the roof, the Jounin was already there sitting at the far end. He gestured for the three to sit down. Alright, how about we get to know each other? Introduce yourselves, he said in the same monotone voice. Sakura raised her hand almost instantly. Sensei, what should we say? Well, you should obviously say your names. Maybe then you could say your likes and dislikes, your hobbies and maybe your dreams, replied the Jounin. Why don't you go first? We can't keep calling you just sensei, suggested Naruto. Okay. My name's Hatake Kakashi. I have no intention of telling you my likes and dislikes. As for my dreams, I have few hobbies. Secretive guy. All we learned was his name, thought Naruto. But I already know some other stuff about you, Kakashi. Sasuke and Sakura both thought the same thing. All we learned was his name. Okay, what about you with the pink? Kakashi said, pointing towards Sakura, who was sitting in between the other two. I'm Haruno Sakura. I like, well, the person I like is, and my hobbies are, well, my dream is to. She hid her face with her hands at this point, in embarrassment and confusion. All the time she had been saying this, she had been looking between Naruto and Sasuke, not sure which one to settle on. Anything you hate? Asked Kakashi, still not giving away emotion. I know, pig, she shouted instantly. Oh, that's perfect. A fangirl that likes both her teammates, and can't choose which is better. That's gonna be annoying, Kakashi thought. Okay, what about you, Blondie? He said while pointing at Naruto, to the left of Sakura. The name's Uzumaki Naruto, shouted Naruto with confidence. Like you didn't know that already, Kakashi. He thought briefly. I like ramen and training. I dislike the 3-minute wait after adding water to the ramen cup when making instant ramen. I got some hobbies, but I ain't saying what they are. My dream is to be Hokage. He yelled the last part for emphasis. Sakura was looking at him with hearts in her eyes. Sasuke just narrowed his eyes at him, and Kakashi just looked bored with his only revealing nothing. He's grown up strangely. I was expecting to be more bitter, thought Kakashi before turning to Sasuke. Alright, Emo kid, you're up last. I'm not emo, Sasuke yelled, his eyebrow twitching. This elicited a chuckle from Naruto. Fine, just get on with the introduction. Everyone thought that Kakashi had finished at that, but Naruto managed to hear the quiet, Emo kid, that Kakashi had said under his breath. This caused Naruto to stifle another chuckle. My name is Uchiha Sasuke. There are many things I hate, there aren't a lot of things that I like. Also, I have an ambition that I have no intention to leave as just a dream. Both Sakura and Naruto were now listening intently to what Sasuke was saying. Kakashi just looked on as usual. The revival of my clan and to kill a certain man. Sasuke is so cool, thought Sakura. Kami, please tell me he isn't gonna do something stupid to kill this guy. Naruto thought at the same time. Kakashi, though, simply thought, just as I thought. Alright, you three have unique personalities. So far, I like that, Kakashi said while looking over the three of them. We're going on a mission tomorrow. It's something the four of us can do together, some survival training. Sakura raised her hand instantly and asked, why are we going to train when it's a mission? Didn't we get enough training at the academy? Naruto resisted the urge to smirk at this. He had already read all about the second set of tests in his father's scrolls, but Sasuke and Sakura had no idea what was coming next. This is no ordinary training. If I say this, I'm sure the three of you are going to be surprised. Out of the 27 graduates, only 9 will become genins. The other 18 will be sent back to the academy. In other words, this training is going to be a very hard test with a dropout rate of 66%. Sakura looked shocked at this new information. Sasuke narrowed his eyes at the Jounin. Naruto just smirked. Not exactly the reaction I was hoping for, but 2 out of 3 isn't bad, thought Kakashi looking at Naruto's expression. Naruto got up slowly, the smirk still evident on his face. Bring it on, Kakashi-sensei. The 3 of us will take on whatever you're gonna throw at us, Naruto said while gesturing at the other 2. This elicited an excited yeah and punch in the air from Sakura. Sasuke just did his usual HN of agreement. Kakashi looked over the 3 again and said, alright, the test is going to be at Training Ground 7 tomorrow morning at 7 a.m. Oh. Before I go, I suggest you don't eat any breakfast. He started going through some hand signs quickly until Sakura asked another question. Why is that, sensei? He looked up and simply said, because you'll puke. He then vanished in a puff of smoke. Sasuke and Sakura got up and started walking away when Naruto addressed them. Don't listen to his advice about breakfast. Have what you usually have for breakfast. Don't worry about the time of the test, he'll be late again tomorrow. We might as well wait until tomorrow to make a plan. Oh. And Sasuke, I'm only going to say this once, we have to work as a team, so don't even think of going against him on your own. See you guys tomorrow morning. Naruto started jumping from rooftop to rooftop at that point, wanting to get to the compound. Humph, dope. said Sasuke as he walked away again. Naruto was walking through the compound on his way to the ninjutsu training area. Kyuubi told him since they didn't get a chance to check for the Namikaze Kekkai Genkai the other night, they would do it tonight. He walked into the cavern and saw Kyuubi as he had been the night before, except the Uzumaki clan scroll had been put back in the vault since he had already established he had the Kekkai Genkai. Alright, Kit. Let's get this over with. You've already read the clan scroll, you know what the Kekkai Genkai will allow you to do. I gathered these 3 scrolls from your father's seal library. They're useful seals, but they're also very simple, so it should be easy for you to use them if you have the Kekkai Genkai. First, I have this one. Kyuubi took the first scroll and opened it up. It is a basic paralysis seal. You can use it to capture enemies or targets depending on the situation. It can be broken if the target has a strong enough will though. Second is this one. He took the second scroll and opened it up. It is a simple chakra draining seal. Using it on yourself probably wouldn't do much to your chakra levels since you have so much of it. It should be useful against other genin and maybe some chunin though. Finally is this one. He took the third scroll and opened it up. It is a seal made for sealing items within scrolls or anything you put the seal on really. You simply place the item in the center of the seal and use a half-ram hand seal, insert some chakra and it will be sealed until you simply use your chakra and think, or say kai, release. There, that should be enough to copy for now. Give it a try. You remember how the scroll instructed, don't you? Naruto nodded, stepped up to the 3 scrolls and sat down in front of them. Naruto remembered what he read in the scroll very clearly. There weren't any special seals like the Uzumaki Kekkai Genkai. All he had to do was concentrate on the seals in front of him and feed chakra into his eyes. While doing this, the Namikaze Kekkai Genkai should activate if he had it. The first ability was being able to copy the seals. His pupils would turn red then back to black when he had copied it. Kyuubi suddenly spoke up. There it is, Kit. Your pupil just turned red for a second. Guess you have both Kekkai Genkai. Now which seal were you concentrating on? The paralysis. Naruto said dumbly. It hadn't felt like he'd copied it. In fact, it felt like nothing had happened. Alright, try the other 2 now just in case I was seeing things. Although I highly doubt it. Naruto did as Kyuubi said. When looking over the other 2, his pupils flashed red again, and he thought he felt something. No doubt about it, Kit. You have the Kekkai Genkai. Yeah, I felt something in my eyes this time. I guess I'll get better at telling when I've copied them with time though, right, Q-sensei? Asked Naruto with a big grin. Most probably, Kit. Now for the second use, give it a try, replied Kyuubi. The second ability depended on the use of the first ability. Once Naruto copied a seal, he should be able to print the seal with chakra for a temporary period. Once this is done, he could leave the seal to dissipate, or use seal equipment to make the seal permanent. To print a seal, all he had to do was think of the seal he wanted to print, gather chakra in his hand, and eventually the chakra would become visible and may change color, and the symbols for the seal would appear on his hand and move all over it. Once this happened, he wouldn't have to concentrate on the chakra anymore. His hand would stay like this until it touched something or he consciously stopped it. The chakra in his hand would form the seal and activate it when he used it. Naruto thought of the paralysis seal and gathered chakra in his hand. After about 5 seconds of doing this, his hand suddenly glowed a purple color, and some symbols were moving all over it. Alright, it worked, he yelled in victory. Good, Kit. Now dispel it, and you can try the third ability, Kyuubi said with a smile. Naruto tried to dispel the seal. It didn't go away. He tried concentrating harder on stopping it. It still didn't go away. Q-sensei? We may have a problem here. The seal won't go away, Naruto announced in a panic. Let me see your hand, Kit. Naruto walked over and presented the glowing hand. That's interesting. Your other Kekkai Genkai, causing your chakra to be condensed, has made it so you can't dispel the seal. At least that's what it looks like to me. Guess you'll just have to use the seal on something. I know, summon one of those Kage Bunshin and use it on one of them. Doing this will also tell us how long the seal will last, and thanks to your chakra being condensed, something tells me it will last long. Naruto did as Kyuubi said and summoned a Kage Bunshin. He wasn't afraid of using the seal on himself because it had said in the scroll that you couldn't print a seal on yourself using the Kekkai Genkai. He placed his hand on the Kage Bunshin and the symbols rushed onto it. They started forming the paralysis seal and shined the bright blue color of regular chakra. The Kage Bunshin instantly froze once the seal was complete and collapsed onto floor, not moving a muscle, so he looked like a statue. Naruto chuckled at the sight. I have another idea, Kit. Bring out another Kage Bunshin and use the paralysis seal on that one too, Kyuubi said, slightly smug with the idea he just had. Naruto did as Kyuubi said, and soon they had 2 Kage Bunshin collapsed on the floor looking like fallen statues. Now we'll leave one clone to follow the course of the seal to see how long it lasts. You can use the other clone now to try out the third ability. I want you to disrupt and destroy the seal using the third ability. Naruto recalled the third ability from the scroll. Using the third ability, he could analyze any seal and find a way to either make it more effective or destroy it and make it useless. It activated in a similar fashion to the first ability, but he had to say or think analyze while concentrating on the seal in order to activate the third ability. His eyes are supposed to change with the third ability apparently. Parts of his iris are supposed to extend into the pupil and create a crosshair shape. Blood vessels are supposed to be drawn to his iris at strange angles, making them seem robotic, and when analyzing a seal, the iris is known to turn randomly, making the eyes seem even more robotic. The iris color is supposed to stay the same though. Naruto sat down next to the clone, concentrating on the seal. He gathered chakra to his eyes and thought analyze, with all his might. The next second he felt his eyes begin to itch, and he knew they were changing. Once the itching stopped, the symbols of the seal in front of him suddenly raised off of the clone, and he could see what each symbol and marking did for the overall seal. He looked over each symbol and marking. He finally stopped at a symbol and decided, looks like if I destroy this symbol the whole seal will be destroyed, but I'm not sure. What the hell? Let's try. He came out of his thought and used some chakra to destroy the symbol. To Kyubi, it looked like Naruto was touching empty air. At first he thought Naruto was playing around until he saw the seal on the Kage Bunshin's chest just disappear. Alright. It worked. Naruto shouted, punching both fists in the air. Good work, Kit. Looks like you understand exactly how to use the third ability. Although it looked like you were doing something in front of you in midair. What were you doing exactly? Asked Kyubi with obvious interest. Naruto looked at Kyubi, not understanding what he was talking about until it hit him. Only he could see the symbols when they were raised, thanks to the Kekkai Genkai. Oh. Well, I was destroying the seal. When my eyes activated, the seal's symbols raised from the clone and spread out. Then I looked over the symbols and found the one I had to destroy to get rid of the whole seal. Guess I must have looked crazy just prodding at empty air like that, huh? Naruto dispelled the clone at this point. A little bit, Kit, but that doesn't matter. You managed to use all three abilities. All we need to find out now Kyubi turned to look at the remaining clone, is see how long the seal lasts once you've printed it. Anyway, you might as well go home. I'll tell you when the seal dissipates. I don't want to tire you out with training tonight. You're going to need to be on top form for tomorrow's test. Alright, Q-sensei. See you tomorrow after the test? Asked Naruto. You better, Kit. We'll be going right back to the usual training, and once you've passed the test and become a fully fledged genin, I'll let you learn some of the offensive jutsu from the vault. Replied Kyubi. Alright, Q-sensei. See ya. Naruto ran for the scroll with the transport seal as soon as the last word left his mouth. Kyubi chuckled as he watched the blonde leave. Maybe I should have given him some training tonight, he has way too much chakra to spare. Oh well. Guess I might as well make myself comfortable until that seal dissipates. 5 hours later. Damn, how long is this thing going to last? I might not get any sleep if it doesn't dissipate soon. A good few minutes later the seal finally dissipated. Finally. Guess I'll wait till morning to tell the kid though, he's probably asleep by now. Kyubi lay down on the ground as he said this and nodded off to sleep. This chapter. Naruto woke up a little after 7 a.m. He took a shower and got dressed fairly quickly, in the new ninja gear he got from Kyubi, making sure he remembered the kunai holsters under his jacket, the goggles around his neck, and a couple of breakfast bars from the cupboards in his kitchen. On his way out the door, Kyubi spoke up. Hey Kit. I was hoping to get you before you got to the training grounds. About the seal last night, it lasted somewhere over 5 hours. If you're gonna be using it, make sure you want that person to stay paralyzed for a while unless you're willing to destroy the seal. Got that, Kit? Yeah, I got it, Q-sensei. Thanks for the info. Naruto thought back as he carried on out the door and turned around to lock it. Afterwards he went straight for Ichiraku's and ordered only one bowl since it was for breakfast. When Ayame and Tuchi asked why he wasn't eating more, he just said that he had to get to a training session, and they left it at that. Naruto finally arrived at the training grounds at 8:45 a.m. When he arrived, the first thing he saw were two very tired, very hungry-looking genin hopefuls, namely, Sakura and Sasuke. They hadn't taken his advice about eating breakfast or getting there purposefully late, and it had taken its toll on them. Each looked like they were about to collapse in fatigue. He just sighed and walked over to them. I thought as much. Either of you took my advice, did you? You do realize Kakashi-sensei only suggested that we skip breakfast? Also, you didn't notice how late he was yesterday? Naruto sighed at the two again. Well, it's a good thing I brought these. He pulled the 2 breakfast bars from his pocket and handed one to each of them. Eat up. It's not much, but it should help you during the test. Sakura took the bar with a silent arigato, Naruto-kun, and continued on to eat it. Sasuke, on the other hand, looked at the bar like it was his worst enemy. I'm not going to eat this. If I eat this, Kakashi-sensei will most probably fail me straight away. Listen, Sasuke team, think back to the academy. Every time we went out on survival training, Iruka-sensei told us to have a hearty breakfast to make sure we would have enough energy to get our own food when we were in the forest. Think about it. Kakashi-sensei is probably trying to use our hunger to his advantage, and unless you eat something, you're going to be a liability. Now eat that bar before I shove it down your throat, it's for your own good," lectured Naruto. Sasuke just glared at him and ate the bar slowly. In a tree, a few 50 feet away, Kakashi was watching with interest at what was happening in the training ground before him. So Naruto's got the teamwork part down. Even if he does have to force it on the emo kid. I think this squad might actually make it maybe, thought Kakashi. He then used the Shunshin no Jutsu to appear before the three preteens. "Sorry I'm late. I started, Kakashi." "Liar! Don't even try it, Kakashi-sensei," Naruto broke in. Kakashi looked at Naruto with a fake hurt expression. "You didn't even let me try." "Oh, well, on to the test. It's pretty simple, all you have to do is get these bells off of me before noon." He took out 2 bells and held them up for the 3 to see. He also took out an alarm clock and set it for noon. "But Kakashi-sensei, there are only 2 bells and 3 of us," Sakura pointed out. "Exactly, only 2 of you can pass. Once you have a bell you pass, if you don't get a bell then you fail and you have to watch as whoever did pass eat these 2 lunches I prepared." Kakashi pulled out a pair of bento boxes. Sasuke and Sakura looked at the 2 lunches and a small, almost inaudible growl came from their stomachs. While Naruto just looked at the boxes uninterested, since he had gotten a pretty good breakfast at Ichiraku's. "Also, if you fail you have to go back to the academy, although I'm guessing you already figured that out from what I said yesterday." Kakashi walked over to 3 posts on the other end of the training grounds, and placed the 2 bento boxes and the alarm clock on top of the middle post. "So when do we start, Kakashi-sensei?" asked Naruto with a smirk. "Well, first I should tell you if you want to get these bells that you're gonna have to come at me with everything you have. That means you have to have an intent to kill. You can use anything you want, kunai, shuriken and anything else you may have," replied Kakashi with an eye smile. "But that's too dangerous, Kakashi-sensei," Sakura yelled in fear for the Jounin's life. "Don't worry, I'll be fine," he replied. "By the way, the test starts now." At that, all 3 sped into the trees for cover. They have a pretty good grasp of stealth," thought Kakashi. Naruto, in his hiding place, created for Kage Bunshin. He ordered 2 to find Sakura and for 1 to bring her to the meeting place he specified while the other performed a henge to take her place. He ordered 1 to take his hiding place and the last to follow him in order to get Sasuke. The 2 Bunshin sent for Sakura found her quickly and explained the situation to her once she got over the shock of seeing 2 solid Narutos. 1 quickly performed a henge to turn into her and take her place, while the other guided her to the meeting place. Sasuke, on the other hand, wasn't so cooperative, and the real Naruto ended up knocking him out and dragging him to meet Sakura while the Bunshin took Sasuke's place under a henge. While all this was going on, Kakashi was raising an eyebrow in surprise at sensing the 4 new presences. "What's going on? A clone technique of some kind? Guess I'll just have to find out," he thought as he started for the 3 still in the trees and he felt the other 4 moving away to the west. He found Naruto first and went through the usual plan. "Ninja Lesson 1 Taijutsu," he said when he appeared behind the clone. The clone just looked at him unimpressed and got up to face the Jounin. Kakashi took out his copy of Ika Ika Paradise and went on to say, "Taijutsu no Ugi, Senin Garoshi." Kakashi then appeared behind the clone and plunged his fingers into its rectum. Unlike what he usually gets from that technique, which is a genin hopeful flying away, he was surprised to get a face full of smoke. Kage Bunshin. When did one of them learn that? He thought in surprise. He had read the 3 genin hopefuls' personal files and it didn't mention anything about any of them learning the Kage Bunshin no Jutsu. If this was a Kage Bunshin, then something tells me the other 2 still here are the same. I'll have to go after the other 4. He didn't get the chance to follow though because the other 3 Bunshin appeared in front and behind him, having gained the memories of their fallen brother. Their mission now was simple: keep Kakashi distracted for as long as possible. Elsewhere in a small clearing in the forest, the real genin hopefuls were just finishing their plans. One obviously not liking the fact that he had been dragged into this. "Okay then, now that that's sorted. You guys get going on the traps, I'm gonna find a place to hide and wait for Kakashi. Hopefully one of the Kage Bunshin will be able to survive long enough to lead him to this place," Naruto said as he began to turn away and head for the trees. "Wait a second, Dobe, why is it you who gets to go after Kakashi?" asked Sasuke a little angry. "Because I have the perfect way of bringing him down, team. And don't worry, you 2 can have the bells for all I care. I just want to see the look on Kakashi-sensei's face when I use my technique on him. Now get going, he's already gotten rid of 2 of my Kage Bunshin," ordered Naruto. Sakura went on to start on the traps with Naruto's weapon pouches and kunai holsters in hand. Sasuke, on the other hand, just walked behind her grumbling to himself. Kakashi had just tried to use a genjutsu as lesson 2 on the clone that looked like Sakura and it had gone up in smoke. Another clone, why doesn't that surprise me? He thought, turning to the other two. After each trap was set up perfectly using all the kunai and shuriken they had created a menagerie of traps to keep Kakashi occupied. While they were looking over their handiwork, they heard Naruto whistle, signaling that Kakashi had dealt with all but one of the Kage Bunshin and was currently on his way toward them. The two quickly hid behind the bushes where they could set off all the traps. A few minutes later, another Naruto landed next to them, and quickly explained he was a clone, not the real one, before they could complain. They then got up to see Kakashi standing a few feet from the bushes staring straight at them. Alright, time's almost up, now are the real yous going to finally try and get the bells from me, or what? Kakashi asked, turning to his orange book about halfway through his speech. The three smirked at him and said in unison, "Hi." As soon as the word left their mouths, a multitude of shuriken and kunai were thrown at him. Traps, huh? That was their big idea? I would have at least expected the emo to try a katan on me. Kakashi thought as he took out a kunai and blocked each and every weapon thrown at him, not once looking up from his book. As he was still blocking the projectiles, Naruto and Sasuke jumped in to attack him. They both hit their mark only to have it turn into a log. The barrage of weapons had stopped now, so the two looked around trying to figure out where he had gone. Where is he? Sasuke thought while Naruto was also looking around. All of a sudden the ground beneath both of them crumbled and Kakashi's hands came up, grabbed both their ankles and pulled them under, leaving only their heads above ground. Kakashi knelt down in front of the two as he said, "Ninja Lesson 3 Ninjutsu, Doton, Shinjuzanshu no Jutsu," and was about to get up when suddenly, he couldn't move. What's going on? He asked no one in particular. His question was partly answered when the Naruto in front of him went up in smoke. Another Bunshin? I was sure this one was the real one. So where? He was thinking, wide-eyed, when Naruto stepped out into his field of vision. I couldn't even feel his chakra. He's better than he's letting on, or was letting on at least. How do you like my paralysis seal, Kakashi-sensei? Naruto asked the immobile Jounin while he summoned some Kage Bunshin to get Sasuke out of the ground. Naruto went over to the Jounin and unfastened the two bells. I'll take these. Hey Sakura! Catch! He yelled, throwing one her way, then holding the other out to Sasuke when he was out of the jutsu. Sasuke just glared at Naruto and snatched the bell from him. So this means that they pass, right, Kakashi-sensei? Yes. Kakashi answered. Good. Well, see you guys. I'm going back to the academy since you two have the bells and I don't. Naruto said with a grin as he turned around and started for the academy when Kakashi spoke up. Stop, Naruto. You all pass. Kakashi told him. Naruto already expected this and would have grinned, but instead held it back, while Sakura and Sasuke just looked surprised and confused. You realized the purpose of this test and got the three of you to work together to take me down. The purpose was to see if you could work as a team, and you did. You knew that me telling you not to eat breakfast was so I could use your hunger against you, so you brought food for your teammates. There is a saying I like to follow: those who break the rules are scum, but those who abandon their friends are worse than scum. Naruto finished. Kakashi did an eye smile and answered, exactly. Now that you all passed, could you please take the paralysis parchment seal off me? Kakashi asked with an eye smile. Why don't you just break it? Being a Jounin, you must have a strong enough will to break it. I mean, it's a pretty simple seal, replied Naruto, hands behind his head. Kakashi simply replied, I'm too lazy. Naruto sighed while the other two had a large bead of sweat appearing on their forehead. Okay, give me a second. Naruto walked back over to Kakashi. Once his eyes were out of sight of Sasuke and Sakura, he activated his Kekkai Genkai and quickly destroyed the seal. Coming back from behind Kakashi, who stood up, he pretended to stuff something into his jacket to make them think it was the parchment seal. Now then, you three can have tomorrow off. I need to get some paperwork done concerning you three becoming genin. Meet me here the day after tomorrow at 8 a.m. and we'll start on your training and missions. Dismissed. Kakashi announced and started to leave for the Hokage Tower while Sasuke and Sakura were leaving the training grounds. He would have carried on but was stopped by Naruto. Hey! Kakashi-sensei! Can I talk to you for a second? The blonde asked his new sensei. Everyone turned to look at Naruto at that point. He quickly told Sasuke and Sakura to go on without him and that he would catch up. Sasuke humphed and carried on walking. Sakura nodded and followed Sasuke. Once they were gone, Kakashi spoke up. So what is it you wanted to talk to me about? I wanted to talk to you about my father, and to thank you for saving me 6 years ago. Naruto replied. Not many things can shock Hatake Kakashi, and this statement was one of the few that did. Well, I'm surprised that you remember that. No problem, by the way, I was just following orders. But why do you want to talk to me about your father? Drop the act, I know that my father was your sensei. I know who my father was. So there's no point acting stupid. I found a place my father left for me thanks to a little help from a friend. I know my father was the Yondaime, the fourth Hokage, announced Naruto. Kakashi looked at Naruto with slight awe now. So is this place where you learned the Kage Bunshin no Jutsu? Among other things, yes, Naruto answered. I was also trained by the same friend who led me there. He trained me to the ground and helped me awaken my Kekkai Genkai, both of them. Kakashi was staring wide-eyed again at Naruto. Both Kekkai Genkai? He asked in an incredulous tone. That's right. I gained my father's Kekkai Genkai and my mother's. I'm telling you this now so you don't find out later and question me. I have a good understanding of both Kekkai Genkai. In fact, it was through my father's Kekkai Genkai that I was able to paralyze you and remove the seal. If I hadn't removed the seal or you hadn't broken it, you would have probably been stuck like that for about 5 hours, by the way. Naruto informed the stunned Jounin. This friend you're talking about. It's Kyuubi, isn't it? Kakashi asked, the awe still present on his face. Not lazy enough to figure that out, are you? Yeah, Kyuubi trained me and everything, and from the fact that you're not shaking in your boots from talking about him, I'm guessing you know he didn't mean attack the village? Naruto asked, raising an eyebrow. Yeah, I know all about how he went on the rampage thanks to someone from the Uchiha clan using the Manjikyu Sharingan on him. Minato-sensei explained it to me before he sealed Kyuubi in you. He wanted to be sure I wouldn't blame Kyuubi for the attack, and I don't, explained Kakashi. Good to know, so we won't have any problems with each other? Naruto asked. No, I haven't got a problem with you or Kyuubi. I am afraid to say though that at your current level I probably couldn't teach you much anyway. Something also tells me you weren't even trying in the test today. You could probably take me on and have a good chance at winning, Kakashi replied with a small-eyed smile. Naruto grinned at this and went on to say, don't worry, I know you were probably forced to take on Sasuke as your student so the council could get their Imo Uchiha to be stronger. Kyuubi says he can still keep training me as well. Knowing him, he probably hasn't taught me half the stuff he knows. Plus, I still got the scrolls in my dad's library to go through anyway. Naruto's grin turned into a frown at this point. I have got some concerns about Sakura though. She isn't strong enough physically, she has book smarts, that's obvious, but she needs to do more physical exercise and get her chakra reserves up. She's gonna be a liability at the best of times. Kakashi nodded at this thoughtfully. I know what you mean. I'm gonna be busy training Sasuke, so I probably won't have that much time. That's not the only problem though, she's a fangirl for the emo and I think she has her eyes on you too. Fangirls are always more interested in going after their idol. Maybe you could train her? She might listen to you and you could train her away from emo kid. Naruto thought about this for a second. Guess it wouldn't be too bad. At least then I wouldn't be wasting my time when he's training Sasuke. Then again we'll be doing D-rank missions for a while, which means there will be next to no risk. Maybe I can get something out of this. Naruto got a foxy grin on his face. What's in it for me? If I have to train her when you're supposed to be training all three of us, I should at least get some of your paycheck or something like that. Wait. I know. After every training session you have to take me out for ramen at Ichiraku's and pay for at least 5 bowls of ramen for me. Deal? Nice one, Kit. Less money you have to spend. Kyuubi chuckled. Kakashi sighed, had a large bead of sweat forming on the back of his head and damn near fell over all at the same time. Sneaky little gaki. 5 bowls of ramen a day? I only get paid monthly, and from what I can figure that ramen is gonna take away at least a quarter of my paycheck straight away, and I'm not gonna get much from the D-rank missions we'll be doing. Stupid council. I'm gonna have to ask for a pay rise or something. Oh well, doesn't look like I'm getting out of this. Kakashi dropped his head in defeat. Alright Gaki, I'll get you your 5 bowls of ramen, but only on days when you've actually been training her. I will be checking. So we got a deal? Kakashi held out his free hand, his other still holding his Aika book. Okay. Naruto grinned as he shook his new sensei's hand. After that was done, they both said their goodbyes and Kakashi disappeared in a puff of smoke while Naruto walked to the entrance of the training area. When he got there, he was greeted by Sakura and noticed that the Uchiha was gone. So where did Sasuke team go? Naruto asked the downcast Sakura. Well, he said he didn't want to waste his time on a dobe and an annoying fangirl and walked off. She replied near tears. Hey, don't worry Sakura. Come on, I'll take you out for ramen since we passed, my treat. Naruto announced with a grin and putting his hands behind his head. Sakura blushed at this and asked innocently, you mean like a date? Naruto paled a little, not really thinking of it like that or wanting it to be like that. No, not a date. I mean, you want to get Sasuke, don't you? If he sees you out with me on a date, he might not want to go out with you. Let's just call it a meal between friends. How does that sound? Naruto managed to get out before Sakura glomped him in happiness. Sakura looked a little less happy about that but saw the logic behind it. Alright. Let's go then, Naruto-kun. She screeched while grabbing his arm and leaning on him. Naruto looked a little pale at the high-pitched voice but carried on walking to Ichiraku's, the thought of a few bowls of his favorite food let him get over the banshee on his arm. Oh. Wait a second, do you still have my weapon pouches and stuff? Naruto asked, suddenly remembering about the said pouches. Oh yeah. Sakura thought out loud while she reached into her dress and pulled out the 2 utility pouches and all the kunai holsters. She handed them to Naruto with a slight blush, realizing what she had just done in front of him. Naruto accepted the equipment and quickly reattached it to the various pieces of clothing and limbs. Putting the kunai holsters that went underneath his jacket on though got the most attention from Sakura, as he had to take off his jacket revealing his upper body under the mesh shirt. Naruto noticed her stare. He quickly pulled his jacket back on. While walking through the village towards Ichiraku's, Naruto with Sakura attached to his arm, he luckily, or unluckily, depending on your point of view, came across Ino, who had also passed her test, making her a genin. The moment she saw Naruto, she ran over and attached herself to his free arm and started a glaring contest with the pink-haired kunoichi on the other arm. What are you doing with my Naruto-kun? Shouldn't you be following Sasuke somewhere? Ino asked Sakura with a bit of venom in her words. Sakura just glared back at Ino and said, We're going to eat lunch together, since we both passed the test as well. I'd almost say it's a date, but I still want a chance with Sasuke-kun. Ino visibly seethed at this. Naruto quickly realized what the outcome of this conversation would be and quickly invited Ino along for a meal as well. Ino quickly brightened and turned to the blonde. Are you asking me out on a date, Naruto-kun? She asked in a teasing way. Naruto quickly shook his head. No, just another friend going out on a celebratory meal. Wait, shouldn't you be with your other teammates? Well, they were behind me, so they should be over there. Ino replied, turning her head and pointing to a spot a few yards away. Naruto looked over and saw a very tired and bored-looking Chuji and Shikamaru, who were now walking over. Hey guys, how'd you find the test? Was it troublesome or just HN? Naruto asked the two, using Shikamaru's favorite words for describing something. Troublesome. Shikamaru replied simply. Wasn't too bad. Chuji replied, taking a break from eating his chips. You guys want to join us? We're going to Ichiraku's to celebrate. Naruto asked with a look in his eye that screamed, Please help me out. I don't want to be stuck with these two alone. The look didn't go unnoticed by Shikamaru, who instantly broke into a smirk and contemplated leaving him to the fangirls. Eventually his friendly side won over and he nodded his head in a yes while muttering troublesome. The 5 continued their trip and got to Ichiraku's without any other problems. They all had a couple of bowls except for Chuji and Naruto, who had 10 bowls each. They all got a congratulations from Tuchi and Ayam of course smiling at the blonde with the 2 girls either side of him, obviously expecting this to happen the morning he came in his new clothes. After everyone finished their meals, they headed back home. Naruto had to go home with the 2 girls attached to his arms. When they got to his apartment though, they both unlatched and went to their homes. Naruto sighed when he got inside and went straight to the transport seal under the carpet and got to the compound. When he arrived, he met up with Kyubi and they went over the plans for his training of the pink-haired banshee. Naruto also asked Kyubi about copying the seals in his father's library with the Kekkai Genkai, and about learning some more jutsu from the vault. When they were done, Kyubi guided him to the seal library. Naruto thought for a second that they would be starting on the seal copying. Oh, how he was wrong. Kyubi went over to the seals and started mumbling to himself. I was sure he would put it somewhere near that weight seal. Where the hell is it? As Naruto was going to ask him what he was looking for, he suddenly cried, Aha! Found it! Come on, we're going to need some seal ink and the tattoo equipment. Naruto groaned at this. It wasn't that the first seal on his back hurt that much. It's just that it took so much time and he hated sitting still. He followed Kyubi over to the seal equipment and asked the obvious question. So what am I getting this time? A stronger weight seal? Kyubi smiled at his container's question. No, the weight seal you have now is good enough. It lets you progress steadily, and you can keep going exponentially, so you'll be keeping that seal. The seal, or seals I should say, I'm going to put on you now is so you don't give away the fact you have the weight seal. Right now I'm guessing the seal is increasing your weight way above the 6,000 kilograms mark. Eventually you'll start making craters with each footstep if this keeps up. The seals I'm giving now are for your feet, they're cushioning seals. Having these seals on your feet will make it seem like you're a normal weight, even when people are holding you up or carrying you. To them you'll feel like you're a normal weight for a person your size and age. Naruto just looked uninterested and slightly annoyed at the amount of time he would have to waste getting these seals done. Okay, I guess it's a good idea to get this done. I want to know something though, will it be possible for me to deactivate the seals if I want? Naruto asked as a foxy grin came over his face. You're already thinking of ways to use this in combat, aren't you, kid? You're as cunning and sneaky as a fox. Maybe I've had too much of an influence on you. Then again, that isn't exactly a bad thing in the ninja line of work. Anyway, you can deactivate it if you want. After all, it's your chakra that will be activating it. You'll be in full control of the seal, don't worry. Kyubi explained to the slightly happier Naruto. Well, let's get the seals done then so we can go back to training, Naruto announced with his usual enthusiasm. The seals only took a couple of hours to do, thankfully. After the first half hour, Kyuubi got annoyed with Naruto because he kept moving. He came up with a way to keep Naruto occupied though by giving him a few seals to copy and analyze. It kept busy enough that Kyuubi was able to do the seals without any more trouble. Naruto, of course, didn't feel any different when he activated the seals, but he didn't think anything of it, and the two just went back to the usual training regime all the way into the second day. What if Kurama is agreed to help him train Naruto become Hokage? And thanks for watching my video till the end. If you enjoy this content, then do consider subscribing to my channel, and leave a like if you guys need the next part, comment down, and thanks for watching the video, and see you guys in the next video.